If you've ever spent your evening scrolling Twitter, waiting to see if the drone attack turns out to be aliens, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope everybody's rested up and ready to go because apparently attack of the drones is on. We've got Fed coming this week. We do have some earnings coming this week. And of course, we are 1 week closer to the Christmas holiday. So today, one of the things that I want from you folks, what do you think about these drones? Are they aliens? Are they foreign? Are they United States? What do we do about it? Let's go ahead and get started. Hello and good morning and happy Monday and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Market Edge Live, where we get you ready for the market so that you can make it a profitable day every single day. Quick check in with the futures here. It's a happy Monday. We've got green arrows across the board. S&P futures up about 0.25% here, 0.23% to the upside. Dow futures up 0.2, up 0.2. And NASDAQ leading the way, up 0.4 to the upside. Green arrows across the board. Good morning and welcome back. Federico, it's great to see you again. Kayla in the house. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Chuck, good to see you again. As always, River and Big Abees, welcome back. Hope that you all are doing good. Russ, aliens, I wish. Look, we don't know. We don't know, right? Welcome back, Russ. 3D in the house. Good morning, 3D. Happy Monday to you. Julian, welcome back. Jay Harris, ready for that $1 million move? We were born ready, son. And Jonathan, good morning. All right. So like I said at the open, I spent too much time this weekend. Definitely spent too much time this weekend loving up the stories on the internet about the drones and all of what it is. And oh my God, aliens, and are we under attack? And the government, of course, not telling us anything and all of that stuff. So I want to hear your best theories here today. The other thing that I want you folks to keep in mind is that a lot of these drone plays are going to be in play here today. So we're going to talk about a couple of things here. First, I just gave you the futures, green arrows across the board. Looking at the SPY here, we're actually right under the trend line. SPY's up fractionally here in the pre-market. Do we continue here today? Do we close higher here today? That really is the question. Of course, we pulled back on Friday. We've retraced some of that move already. Do we end up taking out those highs? We got those just above 607. In fact, let me give you that exact print, that exact high print, 607.13. So I'm almost wondering if we can get above that here today and then maybe make some more movement to the upside here in the broader market. Here's what it looks like intraday. You can see we're really not that far from this trend line. And honestly, if we do have a strong day here today and buying strength kicks up here today, I expect that trend line to be tested at least, maybe even a close above. All right. Next, the other thing that I want to mention here just has kind of an administrative note. We had Christian on when we had that sound issue, right? We started the stream and none of the sound was working and we very quickly fixed it. We had Christian from T3 on, but we felt, you know what, that really wasn't fair. Maybe some people didn't rejoin. So we're actually going to have Christian back today. We're going to ask him what he's looking at, give him some bonus time because these T3 guys, they've got a great edge for the market. And they're out there every day slaying it. So I want to bring them to you. And if you folks have any questions you want me to ask them, let me know. We got some bonus T3 time here today. Okay, let's start with some of the top stories here. You're worried about these nonsense drones. Yeah, aliens and Iran are attacking Jersey. Really, people. So so really quickly here. My personal slant on this, I think that they're probably just some technology that the government hasn't told us about. I don't really think it's aliens. I don't really think it's Iran coming all the way across the ocean to attack people in New Jersey. I don't think any of that. But what I do think is I love people going back and forth. I love the internet arguments. I love that I saw that there were people saying, hey, let's go drone hunting. over the weekend. That was the first time I'd ever seen that. So I'm just along for the ride here, but I'm with you. I don't think it's any of that crazy stuff. I want to hear from you folks what you think it is, the craziest stuff that you've seen over the weekend. Okay, but let's start with some of those really quickly. I imagine that these plays are still going to be in play here today. Obviously, AV, this is the best in breed for the drones. We've been talking about this one a lot. We talked about this one losing the 200-day. I actually did not short this one. I was really hoping this was going to come in and test the 500-day. It does look like with all of the drone stuff that's going on now, maybe it's trying to bounce a little bit early, but again, I'm still going to kind of wait this one out and see if we get down closer to that 500-day. No position on this. This one, I would say, when you have like serious, when you figure out exactly what's going on and you want to trade this for real, AV is probably one of those. In the meantime, I think we have some better opportunities that are going to give us some alpha. So we'll take a look at some of those. RCAT, one of this group's absolute favorites here today. And guess what? The other thing with RCAT, it's got earnings today. So after hours should be wild. RCAT up 18% here in the pre-market. All of you RCAT traders out there, congratulations. I know we've been talking about this one since it was a penny stock, or at least like a $1 or $2 stock. There were a number of days that this was just, oh, I'm not even sharing my screen. For heaven's sakes, Ryan. For heaven's sakes. Sorry about that. We've been talking about this one for a while. This one's really kind of been moving. It's been a huge winner for many people here, and I don't think that the story's over. Clearly, it is still in play here today, popping ahead of earnings. Now, I don't know what to expect for these earnings. I have no position. I'm not in for these earnings, but I very, very well may trade this here today. Definitely looking into doing that on RCAT. So one of the drone plays that's been really, really great for us so far, looks like it's going again. ONDS, this is another penny stock. This is a drone play that I've been holding for a long time. Done a lot of ads down here in the 50, 60 cent handle, and now we're starting to turn around. So really, really good stuff. You can see the trend line that we're running into here, basically on the daily chart. I drew that trend line back from July of 2023, and I just connected some of these heads here, and now it looks like we're testing that here today. If we break above this, I think that this could get wild. Wouldn't be shocked if this saw $2 at some point here today. So again, a lot of these drone plays going. LASE, this is a previous one. This is Laser Photonics. We've traded this one a number of times off of the relative volume scanner. This also has an anti-drone angle as well. So watch that here on LASE. It's not really going crazy, kind of been forgotten, but we'll see if that ends up kicking up. And then the other one that's going wild here today is going to be UMAC. This is also trading up here in the pre-market. We had a rumor here, watching Unusual Machines. Shares move higher as traders circulate that China is cutting off drone supplies, critical to the Ukraine war. So keep an eye on some of those drone plays. Okay, give me 1 sec here, folks. All right, sorry about that. Had to get everything ready here for today, but we're good to go. Okay, so drones. First headline there, drones are going to be in play here again. It is worth noting that we had someone from our group saying, hey, you know, the drone pop might be on its way out. So not a crazy idea to look for short opportunities too, but I would be careful with that, especially with some of these low-priced momentum runners that continue to run to the upside. So drones on deck here again. Next, we have the FOMC on Wednesday. And actually, I have a pre-market article that I want to share with you folks. Here you go. Let me go ahead and throw that here in the chat. So what do you guys think is going to happen, or what do you folks think is going to happen here today? FOMC is going to be on Wednesday. I'm in the camp that we're getting a 25 bips cut, and I think that that's priced into the market. I don't think there's going to be any types of surprise here. I know they're kind of talking about what could happen here. Bank of America is talking about 3 cuts next year. Goldman Sachs is talking about 4 cuts. Maybe we get a pause here in December, 25 bips. I'd like to hear from you folks. What do you think think is going to happen here in December? And then what do you think is going to happen going forward? This is probably one of our best articles on this. This is going to be the big event of the weekend, or excuse me, the big event of the week here this week. And obviously we don't get that there till Wednesday. So I think we could be in one of those areas where it looks like the market is trading a little slow on Monday and Tuesday, kind of just waiting out the event here on Wednesday, but we should have plenty of opportunity going into that. So just wanted to share this with you. We'll see. Again, my overarching thought here, things are priced in and we're probably not going to have that much of a surprise. All right, let's keep rolling here. MicroStrategy. Who's excited for this? Bitcoin was the other news. We talked a little bit about the drone news over the weekend, but the other news was that Bitcoin really starting to go crazy. Bitcoin traded up to 106K yesterday while I was watching the football games. I saw a whole bunch of people on Twitter shouting and hollering that Bitcoin has really made another huge move. MicroStrategy going to be in focus here today as well. MicroStrategy shares dump as the Bitcoin proxy will join the NASDAQ 100 and the QQQ ETF. So you can see here this morning, never mind these percentages, we're actually having a calculation issue. However, the candlesticks are correct. You can see MicroStrategy popped out of the open here today. We've bled a little bit of this back, but this is likely to be in play here again today. One thing to keep in mind, a couple of things to take a look at here. First of all, it looks like we might try and make some moves here to invalidate this head and shoulders. Now, so far the price has done a really good job staying under that right shoulder, but it sure looks like the price is going to try and break out right now. We're sitting here at just about 424, okay, 423 and a half. Looks like this is going to try and trade up here. Big B's, big shout out to you. Big shout out to you, because one of the things that we've been trying to do is figure out where there are going to be tradable support levels in this so that we can actually come up with long side trades when the stock pulls back. And lo and behold, it looks like we have the start of that here. Not only do we have this 383.40 level, but we also have this shaded area where the stock has absolutely found some support. It's done a really good job not breaking down from this and actually turning around here. So now we have some upside momentum here. Let's see what happens with MicroStrategy. Any of you folks that were trading this one or holding this for a while, congratulations. Big B's, that MicroStrat here, let me just cover this here. That MicroStrategy 3-month call for 450 should start to become very good. Yeah, that might be very good here today as the stock's gapping up 20 some points. I've stopped day trading this one, and I'm just in it for the long term, but inclusion in the NASDAQ 100, Qs, etc. sure doesn't hurt. Indeed. And so kudos to you for not day trading this. This has been pretty wild. Awesome that you're on top of this, but I know this one is definitely popular here. Definitely popular here. Okay. Let's see, what else do you have? Play it as an investment, not a day trade. Good luck. I would agree with you there. I don't have any of this for the long term. I'm still kind of day trading this, but I'll let you know when I tuck some away in there. Okay, let's keep rolling through here real quick. I love the conversation about drones, folks. Fairchild here. Okay, there's been a lot of foot dragging by the government in establishing flight corridors for personal flying vehicles. One way to change that is to freak out the public. Interesting. This is an interesting premise here, Fairchild, and you might be on to something there. So we'll see if this actually leads to anything. I know when we first started talking about some of these drone plays, some of you folks were really saying, you know, the rules need to be set. It's kind of dangerous right now. I told you a story about my friend piloting a drone and saying, oh yeah, you know, there's certain FAA rules, and when you try to go above it, the drone just doesn't let you do that. So we'll see. We'll see where all this stuff ends up. It'd be interesting to see if they are freaking out the public here. Replay Game Lab, you vote no cut in December. Okay, I do think that would be a little bit of a surprise if they just pause in December. I think we do get a 25 bips cut, but we'll see there. 3D saying Santa is probably delivering presents using a drone this year. Well, I'll tell you what, hopefully he's dropping off presents and not coal down the chimney for me. If he drops it via drone or via reindeer, I won't really care as long as he visits my house. Okay. All right. Real good stuff there. MicroStrategy. This should also kick up some of the other Bitcoin plays. In fact, while we're here, might as well take a look at that real fast. Here's your Mara chart. This looks like this came in a little bit. Let's take a look at Riot as well. Yeah. Oh, Riot here, still under the trend line. We're actually going to watch this trend line here today. We are on deck to test that. 1 second. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Mornings are tough a little bit here. Okay, that's it on MicroStrategy. We also talked a little bit about Bitcoin. I wanted to share a Bitcoin article that we had here. Let me throw that in the chat as well. Bitcoin plays are likely to be in play here today, not just some of the miners, but really anything connected to Bitcoin. I do think MicroStrategy is going to be our top target here of the day, but like I was just mentioning with Riot and Mara, some of these other smaller moves are also going to be in play here today. The article that I just threw in there is basically covering the rise to 106 over the weekend here for Bitcoin. It gives you a couple of spot prices and a couple of different things to look at there. Oh, one more stock that we should absolutely keep our eye on. Oh, I got to spell it right in order to bring it up. One more stock that we should absolutely keep our eye on here is going to be Coinbase. Check this out. We talked about Coinbase really kind of breaking out of this sideways area that it was in. It did it nice and clean, and then it gave us this nice little flag up here. So we actually are trying to break out of the top of this. You can see we are at the compression point. So today, at some point today, something is going to happen here. My gut tells me that we probably trade up a little bit on coin. Watch some of these recent highs up here around 350 if we do trade up. Price is currently at about 315 here today. So it does look like we want to trade up a little bit out of the open. This pre-market action looks very, very similar to MicroStrategy. Coin options are very liquid. We actually saw last week, ahead of this event, we actually saw some MicroStrategy unusual options being traded. We also saw some of those for Coinbase. So we're going to keep our eyes on that again here today. And then also, with the move in Bitcoin here, we're also seeing a lot of what people call the shit coins or the meme coins. We're also seeing a lot of those move. I will say, if you guys have a line on any of those crazy coins, that would be awesome. Let's talk about that. If you guys are into kind of newer coins that are coming out into the market, let's talk about those too. My experience is pretty much just in Ethereum and Bitcoin, but given the rise that we're seeing with a lot of the Bitcoin market, we might as well take a look at some of the other options that we have as well. So if you guys are into that, I'd love to hear about that. That takes care of Bitcoin. So we've talked a little bit about drones, Bitcoin, MicroStrategy. Another piece of news that we had, SoftBank CEO to announce $100 billion investment into the U.S. during his visit to see Trump. That was courtesy of CNBC. That was basically another visit down to Mar-a-Lago. Now, the big news here with this is that I know that we're talking a lot about the market really kind of needing to correct and all of that. And we've had inflation at highs. We've had the market look really extended. All of this stuff. I will say that $100 billion investment in the U.S. would go a long way. I'm not necessarily sure what this means, but just kind of on the surface here, this really does feel like a good sign. And like I had mentioned at the top of the show here, the future is all pointing to green arrows here. So let's see if we can actually get that to carry through here today. I'd much prefer if we had a nice day where the market just kind of traded up as opposed to trading up, reversing, and then freaking everybody out. I do expect it to be low volume today. I'm not thinking we're going to have this huge volume day that's really going to change things, but stranger things have happened before. We'll see where we end up going here. SoftBank to announce $100 billion investment. It sure looks like people are cooperating with the incoming president-elect here. Okay, and it looks like our producer is running a 25 or 50 bips poll in YouTube. That is awesome. So if you are on the YouTube chat right now, be sure to vote in that poll. Producer, get me those results whenever that poll ends. We'll go ahead and discuss it probably a little bit later here today. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Good morning, Shannon. It's great to see you. Drew, good morning. It's great to see you. Robert, welcome back. Great to see you as well. Did I miss anybody? Tracy, welcome back. Webcoin, welcome back. Good stuff there. All right. Let's keep rolling on. The other thing that I wanted to mention here, one of our favorite stocks and one of my best trades of the year happened really early on this year. PanW, Palo Alto Networks, ticker PANW. Today, trading 2-to-1 forward split goes into effect. So float 325 million here on PanW. You can see the chart. Chart looks absolutely awesome. The stock continues to trade to the highs. This thing has been just a great winner. Every time this thing comes into the 200-day, it's been a really good trade. The best one that we did right in here was this clean bounce in February. We also got a Pelosi push from this. I'm not sure if you remember that. This is also one of Nancy Pelosi's favorite stocks. Got this nice little Pelosi push. We had like 25 points overnight, a total of like a 30-point range. Really, really fast on this trade. Just absolutely awesome stuff. Now, we're even higher here. So watch PanW. Again, trading now, split adjusted. One of the things that I want to do here is just kind of see how this thing trades. What kind of spread does it have? How does it like to move? Those things. And if this comes into any of these moving averages, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll be looking for a swing here. Let's see if we can come back in towards 190, 180 a little bit here on PanW. If it comes into that 200-day on any type of market pull, giddy up. That is exactly what I've been waiting for, or what I would be waiting for here. So PanW, no position right now. Love the stock going forward, and it's been a good trader for us so far this year. Okay, Big B's, you also want to take a look at SMCI. Let's do that. All right, here is SMCI now. We've had a recent run off the bottom. We've had some recent good news here with SMCI. This has been a super, super volatile stock recently, but today down 11% here in the pre-market. Here's what it looks like inside. We sold off on the after hours on Friday, and we've actually taken another leg lower here today. Now, if we go into the news here, Supermicro seeks to raise capital via equity and debt. So it looks like this is kind of what's going on here with SMCI. This stock does look to kind of come in here. Bigabee, as you were saying, BMC has earnings on the 27th of December. So the one thing to note about the earnings print in here is that this is actually unconfirmed. Remember, they pulled some of their earnings. They had auditors in here. So this is basically just projecting based on previous earnings reports. With the company not confirming it, I would not be confident saying that it's there. Yeah, that is unconfirmed for December 27th. I can actually have our news desk reach out here today and see. Let me ask real quick. Do you SMCI? Will they confirm it? Okay. So we'll ask. We'll see if we can get that confirmed. But so far here, that earnings not confirmed. I wouldn't necessarily put too much thought into that. SMCI weaker here in the pre-market. I'd like to know how you folks are trading this one. Jonathan mentioning SMCI was removed from the queues. That's why it tanked also. So there you go. Removal from the queues as well. This moving lower here. Let's take a look where we're at. Okay, we did lose that 20-day. It does actually look like this $30 to $31 level might provide some support, but I would say let's be careful on this. We don't know for sure how great the support's going to be here. Let's let this thing kind of settle out. Could be good for day trades, especially if the volume kicks up. RSI is kind of in no man's land right now, and it does have some, let's call it, less than desirable news here on SMCI. This has been a great trade for our group. We'll see if we get some really good trades on this again as well. All right, we are still waiting for Christian. There was not a whole lot of news here. Really quickly, just kind of a look ahead to this week. We already talked a little bit about RCAT earnings tonight. Don't forget Micron and Lennar are also going to report earnings. Those are both on Wednesday after the close. This is kind of what we're waiting on for Micron, right? We were waiting for this 50-day cross here. I had that 50-day moving average at 103.67. Today, we're up 3.5% here on Micron in the pre-market. So we did take out that 50-day moving average. We'll see if we backtest any of these levels and give us this hypothetical trade. But with earnings coming up here 2 days, you got to be sure that you want to be in this for that actual earnings print. So Micron, that's reporting here on Wednesday. Lennar, the other stock that's doing that. Some of these home builders have really started to crack. Lennar, no different here. All right, no different here. One more pause. All right, folks, sorry about that. My nose is just not cooperating with me here this morning. It's just not doing it. It's saying, nope, we're not going to cooperate. Anyway, we talked about some of these home builders recently. Lennar continuing to move beneath the 200-day. To me, I'm kind of waiting this out until we get to the 500-day. Let's see if we find some support there. Otherwise, I'm not looking to trade it. However, we have another one where there might be a trade a little bit sooner. Let's take a look at that one. TOL. Toll Brothers, remember, this is one of our luxury home builders here, and this is right at the 200. So I actually think that you have a trade in either direction here on Toll. If this kind of breaks here today and looks like this is going to move lower, I think you could probably short this using puts. If it holds here, I think that this would be a pretty good bounce. One of the things that I'd be looking for here is for this to hold. I really want this. I know technically we're actually beneath it. The 200-day I have at 34.20. Currently, we're right at 134. So we did trade beneath it. I'd love to maybe recapture this, close above the 200-day, and then set us up for a long side trade here. I actually have traded Toll twice in 2024, once to the downside and once to the upside. And thankfully, I was able to make money on both of those. So one of the things I'll be waiting for here is, do we hold this? In a perfect world, we will hold the 200-day here today, and we'll be able to play this to the long side using calls. That's what I'm going to try. We shall see if we end up getting that here. Sniffles are kicking my butt this morning. Shannon, I'm glad I'm not alone. Felt like I was the only one out here. And when you're the only person on camera, I mean, what can you do? I can either sniffle here, or I can excuse myself for a pause and go take care of that. So it is what it is. It is what it is. It's just kind of early in the morning here. We actually had some pretty crazy fog here this morning, but it looks like that's kind of rolled out. So we just have a regular day ahead of us here. Okay, some more earnings for you folks to be aware of. And the other thing is that we can actually, if you guys are interested, we can actually ask Anne-Marie to maybe set up some options trades on some of these earnings prints. Remember, they really don't start till Wednesday. We are going to have Anne-Marie tomorrow after the show, so we can maybe come up with some. Next one here is actually going to be Accenture, and I believe that we've traded this one with Anne-Marie before. Accenture here, right around its 50-day moving average, pretty decent range down to its 200-day, pretty decent range above up to its recent high. And then also, I believe that is the all-time. Oh, nope, I beg your pardon. So these two recent highs here also in play if the stock trades up here. I actually think this one might make a really good target for us to trade. Let me go ahead and mark that in my notes. ACN for Anne-Marie. And let's see if we can't get a trade set up on that one. This should actually pay pretty well. So we'll see here on Accenture. Another one that I know our group talks about a lot, or at least they follow them a lot, Nike here. It seems like we've got people on both sides of the Nike trade here. People that like this long-term, others that, maybe don't like this long-term. I think the way I left this with you last time is that people that I know that are really into sneakers, not a huge fan of Nike. It really does seem like some of those Chinese companies are kind of eating their lunch right now. And Nike's not been the greatest performer. Long term, I really don't think this is going anywhere. And I think the other part of the story here with Nike, in addition to the shoes, is that their active wear and their apparel doesn't really seem to be sought after. Obviously, Lululemon's its own thing, but it doesn't seem to me like Nike seems to be the apparel brand for all of this active wear and all of the workout equipment or workout clothing that people use. And I think that that's probably hurting them here. Looking at where the chart is, we're beneath pretty much all of these moving averages. We're a ways beneath the 200 and the 500, but we're also beneath the 50-day and the 100 here, and we're actually just giving up the 20-day. Downside spots that I'm looking for on Nike are going to be about 72.5, and then this 70 to 71. The 70 to 71 area is going to be really, really strong support. The last time we came in here, we consolidated for a couple of weeks, and it actually gave us a pretty good upside trade back to the 200. We faded off that level so far. We're clearly in a downtrend here. So I'm not sure if that support is going to hold us up again. This would be one of the areas that I'm waiting for just to see if this cracks. If it does if it does crack, I do think we can test $60, honestly. And if that's the case, we'll see if it ends up holding there. Last trade that I had on Nike was a short. I ended up getting shaken out of it, but still ended up trading it for 1.5 to the downside. They report earnings on Thursday after the close. So we've got 3 days here until Nike reports. One of the other stocks that's going to report here is also going to be FDX. This is, of course, an extremely important report because this also can be used as a gauge of the consumer. So it'll be really, I know we've talked a lot about some of the Black Friday sales being good, particularly for online retailers. Well, maybe FedEx will give us some insight to the economy, shipping, the Christmas season, and the whole 9 yards here. So they are going to report earnings Thursday after the close as well. And then the last earnings report is going to be Carnival, ticker CCL. I don't know if you folks are still trading the boats here at all. Carnival's been on a really good run recently. It's really kind of broken out of this sideways area that it's been in since 2023. And here we are just shy of $26 on the recent move up. They report Friday in the morning, Friday, December 20th, before the market opens, ticker CCL. Okay, let's see. What did I miss? Oh, you guys are recommending nasal spray. What would I do without you folks here today? I think once I kind of get past the initial morning congestion, I'll be fine. That's kind of what I feel like. Cell H, Tony. You're talking this. Okay, so this is another one here. So I'm going to give you guys a little preview here. Cell H. So first of all, we've talked about this one recently. It's been awesome. Hang on, let me see, make sure. Okay. All right. Cell H. So this has had a really rough 2024, as you can see here by the daily chart. This has been a real high flyer. Those Celsius energy drinks, extremely popular, especially amongst the Benzinga crew, I might add here. But stock's really kind of been pounded. Now, the one thing that we've been talking about recently is that this is a pretty good tax loss buy. And what I mean by that is that anyone that really kind of has this in their portfolio might be looking to kind of sell this because the performance this year just wasn't great. And so that tax loss selling should be abating the rest of this month here, and maybe a bottom is put in here on Cell H. I tell you what, 28.5 sure looks to be a pretty good bottom. I know this did trade down to 25 and bounce there. The good news, now we're starting to recapture some of these moving averages on the way up. So we've recaptured the 20, we've recaptured the 50. It looks like the 100-day is next here, and let's see if we can get back to some of those other moving averages. I actually have the 500-day moving average here at 49.73 and the 200-day here at 53.87. I also know Scott Redler is trading this one, and we are going to ask him on Tuesday for that. But it's Monday, so let's go ahead and get our special guest in here today. Christian, happy Monday. How are you doing here today?
I tell you what, long time no talk, right? After last week.
Look, I first of all, I just want to formally apologize. I know the last time we had you on, we had some stream technical difficulties. So I appreciate you making some extra time here today to join us. I wasn't sure how many people were able to join last time. So really, really appreciate you taking time out of your day. We're going to double up on the T3 content this week. And I think that's going to be really, really good for everybody. So learn Christian's #1 option strategy for finding precise trades in less than 24 hours. I'll go ahead and throw the link in the chat. There's also a QR code there on the screen. You can go ahead and get Christian's stuff. Christian, I'm just going to start. We're going to go guns blazing right off the open here. What setups are you looking for here this week? What is catching your eye this week?
Yeah, for sure. I tell you what, when you get in one of these market modes where it's just kind of a little bit, up, feels like it's up, 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 up. You naturally start looking for those long trades to the upside. As you mentioned, the option strategy in question, we really look for those long shots if
Mm,
we can get them, especially towards the end of the week. So we love the things like the Teslas of the world. We love the stocks like Lululemon, these stocks that
yeah.
can really move, fly around. However, what I will say is that it has felt like the market has been moving higher here recently, but it actually has not, right? So if we pull up, say, for example, the NDX, if we pull up the S&P, if we pull up the Russell, we pull up the Dow, we pull up the NYSE, everyone is declining except for the NASDAQ. The S&P started declining about a week ago. If you look at the NYSE, the Russell, and the Dow, they've been declining for now almost
Yep.
a month, like 3 weeks. So we look at it and ask ourselves, and this is where that kind of taking those long shots come into play, right? There's no free lunch. And so on the surface, something might not make sense. What do you mean you're going to buy some puts? Look at this market. Well, if you want to knock one out of the park, right, you're going to have to take some shots. And so one stock that we looked at this week that really could pay off in a long shot is MDB. We trade
Okay.
a lot. And, for all of your listeners and all your, viewers, we look for those things that can move, right? So we look for the stocks that if we can get it right, these are things that run $10, $15 if we can. This thing was really taken out back on Friday, obviously 2 days prior. And we think this has a real shot of not only getting to 250, but maybe even down to 240, starting to challenge some lows. And those are those kind of long shots we look at and ask ourselves, does this make sense, right? Are we comfortable with the risk reward, knowing that it's a lower probability type trade?
Mhm.
In other words, hey, look, if I can turn this into a 500, 1,000% winner, am I willing to take this shot? Do I feel like it's realistic? So we're keeping an eye on this. On the long side, we're asking ourselves, Lulu had a nice little turnaround on Friday. We like the level it came off of. It's an old level for us. It wasn't the one I thought it would hold up at, but it did. Made a nice, cute little turnaround. So we're eyeballing that this week for a potential long play. Whether or not we do that now or wait to get a little later in the week, that's where those big explosive gains come from, or when we wait for later in the week where the premiums are lower for us.
Okay. Awesome stuff there. I think that you picked two really good stocks there. I know we had MongoDB, that recent down move set off by its earnings here. I think your spots were spot on there. Frankly, I actually saw a little bit of room down there to 225 if we continue to pull. And
Sure.
Lululemon, the exact same thing in the opposite direction here. So we obviously had earnings that really caused this stock to pop here above some previous levels that we're looking to take advantage of. So really good stuff. Looks like earnings were the catalyst that really kind of started the recent move in these two stocks. Let me ask you, do you have any earnings, or maybe I would expand that, I'd say maybe even earnings or an econ event that you're looking to capture here this week? Do you use options to capture binary events like that at all?
Absolutely. Although I tend to stay away from the earnings, at least going into them. So my approach, I don't really get into spreads and things like that. Like, we really like to take our shots. So now we're going to take our hits, right? So we're not shooting for 90% winners by selling a whole bunch of out of the money credit spreads, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We're taking these shots where we can get these big winners, and we're going to, take our hits along the way. But we don't mind taking 3, 4, 5 little hits if we can hit that one big one. Going into to do that, we need to be directional, right? So we're going to go straight calls, straight puts. A lot of times we're doing strangles on both sides, and it's very difficult to do strangle into obviously earnings because of the cost of the premiums. However, after the fact, a lot of times we like to take advantage of that volatility while it's there. So we've already notched one winner on MDB a week
Mm-hmm.
ago. We're looking at it potentially again. We do like setting ourselves up for this week's FOMC. We know we might get some, that kind of rattling around, that rejuggling of the sack there, so to speak. So what we'll tend to do is, going into Wednesday, we'll position ourselves for that potential move that will likely go into Thursday or Friday. So stuff like that, jobs reports, earnings, a little different, because when you look at those stocks, obviously the premiums they don't allow us to do what we want to do, so we stay away from it. It's after the fact, when you get some of that premium sucked out, that then we might try to take advantage of the volatility that's still there.
Okay, so got a direct question here about a specific stock from the chat. Broadcom, ticker AVGO, and this kind of what you were just talking about. Now that the event is out of the way, maybe some of the premium is sucked out of this popping to new highs here. Do you have any outlook on Avago?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think we talked about it last week briefly, right? Or was it the week before? We
Yeah,
talked about that 185 breakout spot.
yep, we sure were. And I'll tell you what, this 185, 186 is what actually I have it marked at here on the screen. But this is, it seems every trader that's been looking at Broadcom has been looking at this level. Now we got the breakout level. So my whole thought here with stocks like this is, if you missed this pop, if you did not play the binary earnings, and now we're breaking out here, what's the next move?
Absolutely. And my answer to that is, who knows? Right? Who knows what that thing's going to do? When you get a pop like that, let's be honest, we're not sure, but that's where we look into it. A lot of times we will take something like this that we think there will still be some ample movement, and we'll look at playing both sides of it. Now, there's a lot of time between now and Friday, so there's nothing saying we have to trade it now. What we can do, take for example, Lulu. Lulu put that nice little shooting, that little, whatever you want to call it, inverted hammer, shooting star, whatever you want to call it. The bottom line is, after its earnings, look at that big reversal.
Yep.
Okay. If we waited a day, what we got was a clear sign that we're probably pulling back. Probably, no guarantees. So there's nothing saying we can't sit tight on Broadcom and say, I'm going to wait for you to show me something so I can pick a side. Because if given a choice, we'd rather pick a side rather than being on both sides. So nothing saying we can't wait it out. But I will say, if this thing's still kind of goofing off in this range and we go into Wednesday and we have the combination of a stock that just did this, that is normally a little bit volatile by itself, and we have the FOMC, what we would likely do is try to play both sides of this into the end of the week.
Okay. Really awesome stuff there. Appreciate that. There you go, Andrew. Got your outlook on a Broadcom. I like how you tied that into Lulu there too. Okay, I'm going to get you out of here on this. Let me ask you, as we get closer to the end of the year, or the turn of the year here, do you have, or are you creating any plan to position yourself for the end of the year, or conversely, the start of next year?
Not necessarily in the way of tangible, literal trades. However, we always have these discussions at the end of the year, beginning of the year. What do we expect? I know that I'm a little concerned with where we go big picture. When you look at things like, we have forgotten about the threes and tens, right? We've forgotten about the inverted yield curve. We've forgotten about what history tells us about rate cutting cycles. And there is a lag with these. And so we look at these, and I think when you look at what tends to happen in these environments, it tends to worry a little bit about what's coming a few months ahead. If you look back at the last little bear market we had, a little 30 some odd percenter, that thing kicked off right at the turn of the year, right, in 2022. And so I do worry about what does the first quarter or first 6 months of next year look like, bigger picture, even if it is just a correction. We've been pretty fortunate. If you look at this entire bull we've had, we have not cleared that 10% mark on the S&P yet. Right. So we're talking 2 years in now, over two. No reason to believe it's not going to continue. We're getting a little long in the tooth without a nice little 15 to 20% or at least. And so it kind of makes you wonder, hey, we clear the year, we get all excited about it, and finally we see some of that weakness that we're going to have to take some hits. So that's what I've been telling my audience is just don't, as I like to say, don't get caught with your pants down. We don't go up every day forever. We don't rally forever. So just be prepared for the reality that a correction to one extent or another is probably closer than it was, say, 3 months ago.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And I think that's a really prudent kind of approach. That your point about the 10% there is well taken too, because this move from July 2024 down to, what is this, August, the beginning of August, not quite 10%, 9.75. So we did not get that 10%.
And look at the one before. I tell my members, like, look, people sometimes people on the financial networks try to act like this 10% correction number doesn't matter. It does. It's kind of like how those programs are ready for that 200-day moving average test.
Yep.
Look at how both of these stop short around 10%. It's almost like the market saying, no, I'm not going into correction right now. So it does matter, I think.
Yeah, this actually is just because of the way I drew it. That is really, really close. So, okay, really good stuff there. Christian, we're going to keep checking in with you. I really appreciate it. And again, thanks again for sticking with us when we had a technology issue. Folks, learn Christian's #1 option strategy for finding precise trades in less than 24 hours. He's awesome. QR code is right there on the screen. Link is in the chat. Christian, have a great week, all right?
You too, Ryan. Have a great one. Everybody make some money.
Hey, that's how we're going to sign off. I like that. Everyone makes money. Christian, take care of yourself. Really, really good stuff there. All right, folks. Hope that you enjoyed that. Christian is awesome. We really do love the T3 guys. They give us a bunch of their time. It's really, really great. And like one of the things that we've been saying, those prop traders, they really do seem to have an edge, and they're exploiting their edge every single day. Kudos to Christian for joining us here. And like I said, we're doubling up on T3 this week. We got Scott Redler tomorrow. So if you have follow-up questions, good stuff. We're going to have another opportunity to do that tomorrow. Okay. We are expecting 13 here pretty soon. I would say let's throw the call out to the chat. What stocks do you folks want to take a look at? I love that you guys are already kind of on the stuff that is in play here today. Let me make sure here. Let me get this real quick. Copy invite link. Let's make sure. There we go. There we go. Can I get a thumbs up from the 13 man when he's ready? He's ready, folks. Let's go ahead and bring him on. 13, how are you doing here today? Did you get any sleep after your Packers win last night? You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I did get some news. You can hear me now, right?
Yes, you sound great.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I got some sleep, but that was a wonderful game. I didn't check to see if that solidified a playoff spot for us. I think we're on the verge of getting that. We're really close, but it looks like we are going to end up going into playoffs. I didn't have a whole lot of time to actually get through some movers this morning, so we can do that together if you want. But I did look at one. What's moving this morning that you've been taking a look at?
Perfect. Well, I'll be honest with you, 13. There was not a whole lot of news flow here this morning. The biggest thing, and I made a joke about it already, the biggest thing were, of course, the drone news. So we got a lot of drone plays to keep an eye on, and I am expecting some continuation here this week. We can absolutely take a look at some of the movers. It does look like a number of folks in the chat have some stocks that they want to take a look at. So maybe let's do that.
All right.
Maybe let's do that here. I'm going to go ahead, folks. These stocks that you're throwing out here, I'm going to add these. We're going to do the movers list quick, and then we're going to go, because I don't think there's a whole lot of stuff on it. And then we're going to, we'll take a look at all these stocks. So I've got AEHR, WKey, Tesla, NMHI from Stock Profit. I don't even think I know what that is. Saidu, we'll take a look at that. RCAT will, of course, take a look. I suspect we're going to be looking at RCAT a lot here today. And then CDIO, WISC going after one of those movers. So we got plenty of stuff here. Let me flip over to the movers tab right now, and we'll start breaking that down like a fraction.
Seems like it's a lot of it is three things today. It seems like it's space, drones, and Bitcoin again.
Yeah. So I'm going to start here just really quickly. I'm just going to address this right off the top, and then we'll actually break down the movers list. MicroStrategy is at the top of the list because there is a change calculation error. MicroStrategy is not up $385 here today. This has been reported. This will be corrected here. Don't worry about that, but that's kind of why this is at the top of the list. Let's just omit it here. Now, there is some news on MicroStrategy, which again, I'm sure we're going to come back to this throughout the course of the day. MicroStrategy shares jump as the Bitcoin proxy will join the NASDAQ 100 and QQQ ETF. So it's up, but it's not up 941%. We'll come back to that when this gets fixed. However, the first actual mover on this list, 13, is the one that you just mentioned, and this is Saidu. This is going to be one from your space theme. So this is ticker SIDU, Saidu Space. We are up 61%. Looks like we ran into some resistance here at 260. I'll just turn this one over to you because you've been following a lot of these space stocks.
Mm-hmm. Well, as far as the news goes, I'm not exactly sure what the movement is over. I did take a look and see if there was anything relevant to today. Last piece of news I have is from December 12th. So last week, I don't know exactly what the reason we're seeing this movement today, but this is one of the companies that is trying to help build out data centers and a satellite constellation for a number of companies. We're also getting into the stage where a lot of folks are talking, well, with all this nuclear power and trying to get data centers to, run efficiently, and we need the power for all these things. Where's all the power going to come from? Some folks have been talking about it, going into space, and side Space is one of those companies that can do that, and they've already got an agreement with. I'm trying to think of. I think it's here we go. Lone Star Lunar. They have tapped Sidus for a data center on the moon or near the moon, and that it's supposed to be a lunar data center. So there's going to be some interesting things happening here with Sidus. Now their balance sheet and their cash flow, their financials aren't great. So that's just one thing to point out here about this one, is that they do not have the greatest looking balance sheet right now, but they're improving.
Okay, real good stuff there. And I'm just kind of picking up where you left off here on the financials. Yeah, it does have a little bit of cash here, but to your point, it is burning cash every quarter. And at some point, it looks like we are going to need to address that cash position. Okay, good stuff there. Mike saying, Ryan, PanW split, LOL. Yes, Mike, that was actually the second story on the list here, or excuse me, the third story on the list here. PanW 2-for-1 split effective today. We're definitely going to be looking at that again here today. So good stuff there. PanW, we'll be back. We can check in on that again here. Did you have any key levels for Saidu by chance? I know this 221 we're approaching right now, obviously 260 to the upside as well.
Gosh, for me, this one is just so, it's one of the less preferred of my the space list that I have. It's just one of those companies that, is kind of getting itself off the ground. It doesn't have the big revenue yet that some of these other ones do, and doesn't have the huge news that some of these other ones do, like Lunar or ASTS. But this one could get going. I believe it does have a pretty decent share structure. 8.5 million shares in the float. So we could see this move. At the very least, we could see it. Let's see, today maybe push up closer to 285. We're in a bit of a consolidation area that started from about 212 and ends roughly around that $2.95, $3. So it might take some time, or just at the very least a lot of volume to push through this consolidation that we've been in since June. Okay, really good stuff there. Saidu definitely on the list. We'll be checking on this one throughout the course of the day. Really good stuff. That looks like it's going down. Just based on the way that that price action looks, that looks like it's going down first. Yeah, and I kind of watched this 220 to 225 area. This did provide support for it earlier, but to your point, 13, this does look heavy here. So let's see if we clear that area out. Next one here we have on the list is going to be another one that you folks were looking for. This is Nature's Miracle Holding, ticker NM, Nancy Mary Hotel India, NMHI. Nature's Miracle Holding shares are trading higher after the company announced it will acquire a 90% equity interest in J&Y Marigold. Now, I'm going to have to read about that. I don't know what that company is. However, the market really rewarding this piece of news here today. Stock was about $2 on Friday. We popped above 350, and right now we're flirting with the VWAP right here at 330. Again, as mentioned earlier, I'm not actually familiar with the stock or the J&Y Marigold that it's mentioning there, but this is bolstering its Bitcoin mining capabilities here. This is a growing agriculture technology company providing controlled environment agriculture hardware products for growers in the CEA industry, setting in North America. Hardware design, build, and various indoor growing settings. Interesting. So what's the Bitcoin angle here? I don't know exactly.
Yeah, me either.
Except, I mean, it could be to, as a way to, increase revenue or generate cash flow. So it seems like you have two different camps of thought here when it comes to preparing for additional surges in Bitcoin. You have MSTR, which is just buying it outright,
Yep.
and they're financing it to buy it. And they do have some mining capabilities. Then you have companies like this that are not buying the Bitcoin, but buying the capability of mining it. So they're going to have that overhead. I guess there's something, some other business thing they have going on with indoor farming, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it looks like here. And what's interesting about this is we've talked about indoor farming maybe being a theme coming up here. Now it looks like we've got one company that's trying to add Bitcoin to its business. So interesting nonetheless. As far as the actual stock here, this actually should be pretty perfect for us. 2.1 million shares in the float. Yeah. We've had some really good movement here so far. 3 million in revenue versus a 5.5 million market cap company. This doesn't even really look like it's all that expensive of one of these small cap stocks. Sure, it looks like it's burning some cash per quarter, doesn't have a whole lot on the balance sheet, so maybe it's going to need to figure something out there. Yeah. A little bit of the float shorted here, but nothing crazy. And doesn't really look like any open market transactions. What do you think here, 13? You think we got another one to add to our bucket of small caps to trade?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one just yet. And the reason is because they did do a reverse split, a 1 for 30 back on November 21st. And usually once we see something like that and look at their cash position, we're like, okay, well, now they're in a good position to do a cash raise and dilute their shares some more by raising that capital. So it's set up for an offering. And when I was looking at their balance sheet, I was kind of wondering myself, where's this money coming from that they're going to be using to purchase JNY Marigold? So there's obviously a risk of capital raise here at some point, maybe today, but I don't know for sure. I haven't looked into it enough to know if that's what their plan is. As far as offerings that they've already done, they had looks like they did have one offering they did back in November earlier this year. So they did an offering and then reverse split. So maybe that raised enough capital. Maybe it didn't. I'm not sure. I would still be cautious about them needing more money going forward.
Okay, real quickly here, I basically just looked into that PR that they released here today. This is interesting. Nature's Miracle Holding, a leader in vertical farming technology and infrastructure, announced that the company, through its wholly owned subsidiary, has entered into a stock purchase to acquire 90 blah, blah, blah. A Toronto-based company currently developing a Bitcoin mining facility with the anticipated power load of 14 megawatts. This acquisition demonstrates Nature's Miracle's ambition to diversify its portfolio by venturing into emerging high-growth industries. By securing a controlling stake in JNY Marigold, the company aims to further strengthen its Bitcoin mining capacity and position itself at the forefront of the cryptocurrency revolution, aligning its business model with the cutting-edge technologies that are shaping the future of global finance. So, wow, looks like it's just trying to diversify for the sake of diversifying here. An interesting move. I can't wait to see how this trades here today.
Yeah, I'd like to know how many Bitcoin they have.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'd like to. I have a couple of unanswered questions here, 13, to be quite honest with you. Just a couple. But you know what? Just kind of looking at this actually looks like a fairly decent setup. Price action here today looks good. The volume looks good. And then some of those other intangibles, as I like to call them, the share structure, the recent split that you mentioned, all of that stuff lining up here. So maybe we get a trade here in NMHI, November Mary Hotel India.
It looks like it's in the right now trying to recapture that VWAP, but you can see pretty clearly at 350 that runs into some real big selling. So 350 might be a little bit of a line in the sand here for this one. Watch for a break over 350. It needs to hold above that if we're going to keep going up.
Yep. Okay. Really good stuff there. And then I wanted to highlight this vision. I appreciate this. This was regarding the SIDU, SIDU, which we talked about earlier, per Moon Market Guy. So I don't know who Moon Market Guy is. SIDU is supposed to have a launch in December 20th and was pumped due to his people, compared to W Key, which launched in January that pumped. Careful, news not out yet, so people pump. So it's like we've got a little bit of back and forth there with some of those smaller caps. 13, I don't know if you follow any of that stuff, but just wanted to highlight that here.
No, but if he follows launches, then it's probably good to keep an eye on what he says, because those can be catalysts in some cases.
Okay, sweet. Let's keep moving with the list here. Next I have on the list is LAES. This is Seals Q. Now this is bordering on former ex-girlfriend at this point, because I feel like we've traded this one a whole handful of times off the relative volume scanner. Looks like this actually had an interesting day on Friday and looks to have some continued momentum here today, plus 52.6% here this morning. I don't see any fresh news on this. Looks like never mind. Seals Corp announces issuance of 7.7 million ordinary shares. So stock's up on an offering that must have come. Yeah, sorry, that offering came last week.
Yeah,
that offering came last week. That
now,
was just
if it closed, if they raised the capital and they've closed it, then yeah, I could see the stock moving the way it is.
Right now. Pricing of 10 million registered direct offering. That was at $1.30. Stock's at $2.67 here.
Oh, okay, there you go. That too. So
yeah. So again, that was just a rehash there from the news that we got on Friday.
That's good. Indeed
it is.
That takes capital raise, off the table for now. So there's a lot less risk of that happening again anytime soon.
Yep, and 26.5 million shares in the float. Volume looks good here today. Ticker LAES.
Let's see.
LAES.
If I can get some levels for us. I mean, first things first, let's get it back above VWAP, and then we can have a better time trading this. But this morning, it looks like it's really been trying to get after 3. Hasn't been able to capture that, getting as high as 295. So to me, it looks like 3 is the goal here for LAES. So watch for that volume expansion to help push it up here. Looks like it really is trying to recapture VWAP and make another attempt at 3. So if you're pre-market trading, maybe keep an eye on this one for some move just before the open.
Okay, really good stuff there on LAES. Hustle and Bustle, good morning. You're asking what just happened to Celsius. Well, let's take a look at there. Let's take a look and see. It doesn't look like anything just happened here. Looks like maybe it ticked down a little bit. We did get the price target lowered to 38 from 40 at Roth MKM. That's fresh as of this morning, but doesn't really look like a lot happened here. Okay, let's keep rolling from the list of movers here. Next one I had here is UBXG. Oh, wait, did I? Yeah, UBXG. Yeah, next one is Verdam. Okay, so UBXG here. Do we have any news on this one? Nope, looks like nothing fresh here. This is just up by about 20% here today. Short interest, 8% of the float shorted, not really a whole lot on the days to cover. Nothing on the insider transactions in here, and this stock 1 million shares in the float. Did you got anything on this one? There's really no news here, so I understand if you didn't cover this one at all.
Well, it looks like the news is from Friday. Looks like there's a
passive stake here, or active stake, excuse me. Yeah,
55.5% represented here in this filing. So. Sometimes when you see these active stakes, they can be multi-day runners. We've seen this happen before. That's likely what this is going on. I haven't seen any other news that would indicate to me otherwise. Yeah. So I think this is just kind of a continuation with the news from Friday.
Okay, now let's roll through some of the other movers. And you folks were all looking to take a look. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and Arval, because Friday had the news, so there's an Arval play here. We had the relative volume on Friday, and today we're also trading off of that. So relative volume, news from Friday, continuation. That's kind of what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, it's really kind of bled a lot of that back. So
okay, that's good.
Yeah, let's see if we end up getting alongside.
That's up for more. Yeah, that's up for another
active stake. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then producer here is letting us know 13. Well, I'm actually just going to go to you because I think we started this before you got here. We ran a poll asking what the viewers think the FOMC cut is going to be here. Mm-hmm. So first of all, what's your guess? And then I'll go ahead and read you the results of that poll.
I'm one of the ones that voted for 25 basis points.
Okay, so you did vote. Okay, perfect. So you did see that. You did vote. Awesome. 85% of participants believe that it's going to be a 25 bips cut there on Wednesday. So
I believe
you are in the vast majority.
Yeah, I believe that as well. I was only looking at 50 as a possibility, depending on how the inflation reports, like PPI, PCE and CPI, we're looking, and they kind of showed a stickiness, so that kind of took 50 off the table for me. But I still think they're going to do 25 basis points, and then likely they're going to pause the next FOMC meeting, which is just after the Trump inauguration.
Okay. There you go. Really good stuff. By the way, that it looks like a Chinese buyer on that active stake that we just got there. Okay. Next one on the list here. Let's see. It looks like the list is shifting around here, but we'll make sure we get all of them. Next one here on the list is going to be VRDN. Ticker VRDN. This is Viridian Therapeutics shares. We've definitely traded this one before. This one, nice little ramp there. This thing was just under $18 on Friday, hit a high of 25 here in the pre-market. Viridian Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced phase 3 results for its thyroid eye disease treatment trial. The volume here in the pre-market is fairly light. Looking at, we've traded under 1 million shares here in the pre-market on the back of this good data, 819,000 in those shares. So looks like positive news here. Stocks up just about 18%. If we take a look at the short interest, this is one of the things we want to keep our eye on here. This stock is shorted, and this is pretty par for the course with some of these biotech therapeutic companies. 12.5% of the float shorted, 8.75 days to cover. Now we've got the phase 3 results out here. Stocks popping here. 13, what do you make of this one?
The more I look around, the more I see these little indicators that adding up really help with this move. Just on the technical side, looking at the daily chart, we had a bounce. Like we tested the 200-day SMA on Friday, had a really nice bounce off that. And this morning we are moving right away from that moving average, blowing through the 20, the 500, and making our way up to the 50-day SMA on VRDN. That is also, so you have a little bit of a technical bounce there because the RSI on Friday was pretty low, sub 30. So RSI bounce, technical bounce off the 200-day SMA. You also have the short interest with the high days to cover. And then, of course, the phase 3 news catalyst. I don't know that this is the last trial that they're going through for this particular drug. Sometimes they have concurrent trials going on for another reason. But if this is it, then I'd have to look at their financials. I think they're okay. They have $200 million in cash with 53 million in short-term investments that are liquid. So they've got tons of it. I imagine that bringing this to market wouldn't be on their own wouldn't be too much of a struggle. They do lose 76 million a quarter at this stage, but if they can bring this to market and start turning a profit or find other investors, then this might have a better cash position and might see better revenue.
Okay.
Actually,
right.
it has very little revenue at this point. $8,000 a quarter. Fantastic.
Okay, getting a mention here. MOB moving. So this is another drone stock here. World Peas, please. World Peace would be great. I'm with you there. Give me address the elephant in the room ? Okay, I think I speak trader, so I know what you're saying here. How are the drone stocks doing? Drones are a theme right now. It looks like investors have been deploying money to that area. Indeed. Yep. MOB, another one of those, looks to be trading higher here in the pre-market. Looks like thinking about it is all over this one. Don't see any news here, but do see this ticking up a little bit here on some light volume. There's another drone play. We already mentioned AVAV, RCAT, ONDS, LASE, and UMAC. UMAC also on the list here today. So all of these drone plays really kind of getting rolling here.
And, we've been looking and trading these since last month, and they've had a really good rally, but they needed to cool off. That cooling off might be coming to an end with a lot of these. We could look across all the previous names that we've been trading before and see that if we are, doing things like recapturing moving level or moving averages or previous support levels, that would be a good indication that we've cooled off enough and are turning back up. We might see another push through those highs we were making last month or earlier this month.
Remember last Monday, so this is a week ago, UMAC, we did have a rumor here, watching unusual machines, shares move higher amid traders circulating. China is cutting off drone supplies critical to the Ukraine war. Remember, that was a week ago. Since then, now we've seen some other drone image and news here stateside. So it'll be interesting to see if this converges here. Okay. The only stocks that I have left here on the list are AEHR, WKey, and CDIO, and I see all of them here on the movers list. So we're going to start here with AEHR. This is Air Systems. I believe this has a drone angle, right? Engaged in systems for burning and testing logic, optical, and memory integrated circuits. Those automotive and mobility. Yeah, I think there is like a thing behind the thing, drone angle here. Yeah.
This was the testing of, remember when we were looking at the testing of EV systems, and it got really, really hammered because EVs were, kind of on the decline. So this company also got hit too because there was less testing of EV components. So if I don't know if they're switching to testing, other components for other systems like drones.
Well, they have the AI angle, and that's what the news here this morning is about. Air Test Systems shares are trading higher after the company now secured $10 million order for AI semiconductor testing. So I don't think that their business is going to be hurting at all here. This stock up 16.6%, and perhaps more importantly here, this pre-market formation, we've seen this out of stocks similar to AEHR in the past. This is exactly what I want to see here. Nice impulse move, took us almost up to 15. We've pulled back here. We're flirting with the VWAP, though. AEHR, this looking pretty good.
And what's the float on this? That's going to kind of determine.
Float on this one's 28 million. So it's a little bit thicker than we're used to, but this can still move around. Yeah, this still has some eyeballs on it.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't hear you say anything about ARCAT or the news it had this morning. You guys already cover that?
No, we can do that here right now. So ARCAT, this, I did kind of mention this as just kind of part of the drone theme that we've talked about here. ARCAT's been a huge winner for our group, but I'll set the stage here with the news and then I'll turn it over to you. Red Cat shares are trading higher after the company announced a partnership with Palantir. Oh boy, to enhance autonomous military drones with GPS-free navigation. I got to be honest, 13, that sounds like great news here. Why don't you tell us what that means? I'm going to step away for one sec, but go ahead and lay this one out for us.
Well, to be honest, I do not know what that means. It seems pretty good. It's definitely two stocks we've been paying a lot of attention to lately. Now they're apparently joining forces to create military drones that have these capabilities that don't require GPS. So that's great, but also a little concerning. I don't know if they are just going to start acting on their own volition or what. But the fact that these two companies that are really hot right now are joining forces, kind of it's helpful to both of them. I think it's more helpful to ARCAT though, because Palantir has really run on this, and I haven't taken a look and seen what Palantir has been doing this morning. But I imagine they might be getting a little bit of attention with this news. I don't know. When he gets back, we can probably take a look at the Palantir. But for me, I think this is just another catalyst that's going to help take ARCAT up further. Let me pull this up in my broker and see where we go with this. So 1035 has been the pre-market high, currently holding above VWAP. When we get that. Maybe if we get the market to open, or maybe just before the market opens, we get another push in the volume. That'll take us back up over 10, and maybe up through 1035. The thing is that if we do not break over 1035, but we still trade up to that level, that could end up being a triple top. So we need to either break through 1035 or just take our profits off the table if it gets back up there and reverses, and just say thanks for now. So that would be the plan that I would have for ARCAT if we are not able to break over 1035. Jay Rice says, good morning, saying PDYN. Anyone buying the dip also has to deal with ARCAT. It's red. All the other drone names are ripping. Well, let's just see here what's going on with PDYN. Paladine. I remember this. Let me see if I can pull up the levels I've had previously. No, didn't have any previous levels. This did run up to 793 at the beginning of this month. So it was very much part of that drone theme that we were all trading in November and early December. Seems like it's trying to find a bottom, maybe turn around and get some support. But if you look at the price action back in October, that might be a good area where it could come down to. It's actually already come down to the October 9th highs, but we still need to see it turn around and break through some of these previous levels. So Let's see if it can get back up to 4. I don't know exactly what it's going to do today. It's a good point, Jay Rice. Got down to 301 in the pre-market here. That might be the low for now, but again, don't know for sure. I have not looked into this one enough to know or get a good idea of where it goes. But I'll tell you this. If we are going to trade back up at this one today, there is a pretty good amount of consolidation from about 338 to about 370. We're going to need to see some good amount of volume to get through that range.
Which one is this? Sorry.
This is PDYN.
PDYN. Okay.
Jay Rice had brought this one up because they had a deal with RCAT as well. But this one has run with the other drone names, but it's not running with them this morning, or maybe not yet. So this could be one of those that's a little late to the party.
Okay. Really, really good stuff here. Drew here mentioning PDYN went up initially on the RCAT news and seems to be dropping today on the RCAT news. Indeed, seems to be kind of falling out here. We'll see where this sets up,
because it's Palantir and not Paladine.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That Palantir news that's pretty good, or that news with Palantir, pretty good there. Okay, sorry about stepping away there. It's been a morning for me, but I think I'm good to go. What else did you cover while I was away here?
Oh, we just went over the Paladine AI.
Okay, perfect. That also means that we still have W key and CDIO to go here. So W key, this is one that we've been taking a look at recently. I believe this was a halt fest not long ago. This thing was absolutely wild here. Let's see. Did we have any news, any fresh news on this one? Yeah. So here we go. So W key announces WeSat satellite launch with SpaceX on January 14th. Pretty big catalyst there. What are you expecting here out of this one today?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. What's the float like? I don't have a read on that from here. The float might be the big question mark for me. And if it's too big, then I don't know if I will expect a whole lot. No, under 10 million shares. So this one could move pretty well. This thing has been absolutely hammered over the years. It looks like it participated in the meme stock craze. It kind of really had a huge spike around that time.
Yeah, sure did.
Let's see here. Looks like one of the big early resistance areas might be around 11. So we could trade up to there, and let's see if I can find something else.
Yeah, this $10 level also might give you some resistance there.
Okay, so 1072.
And then that 11, yeah.
That is the 200 EMA weekly level. So if you turn on a 200 EMA and go to a weekly chart, could end up hitting that EMA. And that's pretty close to where that high was that I was just mentioning back in 2023. So maybe we get there. But, and usually when you see something that's being launched by SpaceX, well, for one, there's a lot of confidence that it's going to get there because they have so many successful launches. Two, it might be cheap. It's probably going to be a lot more cost effective for them since SpaceX launches are continuing to get cheaper. I don't know beyond that anything else I could draw on for where this ends up going. Just previous levels, really.
Yeah, this thing's been a huge mover for us recently too. So this is good stuff here.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it on my space watch list just because it's, it seems to be part of that theme. So we'll just add that for funsies.
Okay.
Space name's looking pretty good this morning, by the way.
Yeah, they are pretty much across the board. Real quickly here, speaking of which, let me highlight this comment here real fast. Stay focused. Good morning. Happy Monday, boss. That RCAT news is huge. I know we already covered this, but I wanted to bring this up because I actually mentioned to you before you got here this morning, stay focused, that RCAT news is huge. Guess I need to stop shorting RCAT. Thanks for the news. You're welcome there. I did mention earlier, this drone play. There were several people kind of playing the backside of the move on the drone play, but I don't think that it's over yet. So nice to hear you say this here today. Sure looks like we're going to wait this out and see where this goes. This news looks to be pretty good. So, and then to your point there, it does seem like the space plays are also kind of moving with that. So, all right. That was W key, and then CDIO was the other one that Wiss wanted to take a look at here. I don't see it on my list. Maybe it kind of changed around. a little bit. And then, yes, we will give test levels. We should have plenty of time. We got 11 minutes. We got time to do it all. I got time to do it all here. Let me go ahead and load my VWAP and MAs here. And then let's go this. And then back here. And here is CDIO. So you can see here, we did pop here in the pre-market on CDIO. Looked like we went as high as 180 and came back in. We're about 10 cents beneath the VWAP. So I'd like to see a move back up there and recapture the VWAP. The news here real quick. Cardio Diagnostics Holdings receives final Medicare pricing determination from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The Epi and Gen CHD tests get CMS pricing here. So stocks up 11% here. I do think there could be another move if the volume kicks in here, but volume is going to tell the story on whether or not we get rolling here. CDIO. Quick look at the short interest. Not a whole lot, only 3.86% here. 13, do you have anything on this one? Balance sheet has a little bit of cash. They don't really burn a whole lot of cash, so they might be all right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if this news here has an upcoming catalyst. This decision will be effective for claims with dates of service on or after January. I'm just trying to see when, because it seems like they're on the verge of approval from for medical centers that are mulling, using their products. I would have to do a little bit more looking into this, but it seems like, is this like an EpiPen
device? Yeah, Epi plus Gen CHD test. That's what it sounds like here.
Okay.
Cardiovascular disease prevention and early detection. The generic epigenetic engine for cardiovascular disease. So maybe it's not. No, it looks like this is all cardiovascular related.
Huh.
It is a teeny company, though. You're right about that. It is a teeny company.
Yeah, I would need to look into this a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure on exactly what, the news reads really well, but I'd like to know more about what this is that they have.
Yeah.
And if there's any upcoming catalysts, because final Medicare pricing determination, that doesn't seem like that's the end of the story here with this one.
Okay.
It seems like there's something like there's something else, like approval, some kind of approval coming. I'd have to look into more of that. I'm just kind of guessing it right at this point, but it seems like there's another piece of news coming later with this one.
Looks like we just got fresh news here on GMPX as well. This was not out when I initially sat down here. This is another one that I think that you folks have traded here before. Genprex received Safety Review Committee approval to advance the phase 2 portion of its XIII clinical trial. I'm going to try and pronounce this. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Recorsa. That actually wasn't so bad. Trial of Recorsa gene therapy in combination with Tecentriq for extensive stage small cell lung cancer. So remember, this cancer treatments here. It looks like we're getting another PR here about one of its trials.
Yeah,
this popping this plus 20% here. GMPX.
Yeah, this would be one that I'd be interested in looking into their pipeline for clues on when there's going to be future catalysts, because this is approval to advance to phase 2.
Yeah.
So there's going to be catalysts coming, in the future with this one, as well as perhaps some capital raises. And let's see if their share structure. No, maybe not there. Maybe not reverse splits, but that's if they can hold above a certain price, $1. But yeah, I don't have anything beyond that for this one. I would just take a look at their pipeline and see when what we can expect from these clinical trials in this drug.
Okay, but that's what's going on here with GMPX. Looks like some fresh news. Volume looks good. This driving higher here on GMPX. Another level here. This 140 level, this has clearly been a level before. We're going to watch this again. I've got 140 and 160 here as the next levels of note. If we get through some of those levels, 13, maybe we can spend some time figuring out the next levels. But so far, I've got 140, 160 on that. Let's go ahead and give out some of those Tesla levels. That was one other thing that we were asked for here. And then I think we'll have had the entire list taken care of. AEHR, WKey, Tesla. And yeah, we hit all of those stocks that you folks asked for. Okay, let me flip over to my bigger chart here. And let's go ahead and take a look at Tesla. And we'll break that down like a fraction, as always here. Tesla, okay, in the pre-market here, Tesla 440, up another percent here in the pre-market, looking like a higher open. We talked about the broader market here. NASDAQ is leading the way higher here, up 0.5% here on the futures. That looks to take Tesla with it. We know, remember the MicroStrategy in the news here for joining the NASDAQ and the Qs. But here you go on Tesla. Just kind of looking at this, we did have the blue sky breakout here from the 416. I don't have any other levels yet. 13, do you have any on this one that you can give out?
I mean, no, to be honest.
Well, yeah, because they're all above.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Yeah, we're in some price discovery area now. You could, use a fib extender.
Yeah, let me try that. You're right. Let me try that here real quick.
But I'd be looking at levels to the downside, to be honest. I think we shouldn't be looking at fib extension. We should be looking at fib retracement.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that case, then I do have a couple of levels here, and I'll go ahead and give you some upside and some downside levels. And I don't know that any of these are going to get hit here today. First downside level, obviously we've got the round 400, but I've also got one here at 391. It looks like. Now upside levels, if we keep going, I don't have another one here until 520. So I'm not sure if that's what we get here. I think you might be right on wanting to do the fib retracement instead of some of those extension levels. But let's see. Let's see what the opening print gives us here.
Yeah, because one thing to keep in mind is that the RSI in this Mag 7 stock, this really big company here, is almost 80, and that's pretty high. So I would expect that we come back in. Maybe we come back in.
That's wisdom level high, dude. That is that is wisdom level high. You're right.
So we could come right back underneath 400 pretty quickly with that kind of with how extended we are. I'd be looking more to the downside with Tesla, to be honest. It needs to cool off, and then it can go rip again.
415 looks to be a pretty decent level here on the downside if that comes in. I know that's not all that close. Still, what, 15, 25 points away? 415, I'd say, is your downside level here. Okay. Round one fight between Lion Atlas and 13. Not with you. Strongly disagree. LOL. That's great. That's what makes the market. Okay. This is exactly what I wanted here today.
I mean, sure, it can rip, but I'm thinking that it's going to cool off. I mean, this thing is just.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because you can look at the RSI and you can see that it has ripped past 80 before, and it's come right back in. So this is just a point where I'd be a little bit more cautious because this is getting close to the point where it's going to turn around.
So I'm going to give you a potential day trade level here. I was trying to look at a different time frame to kind of get you some more levels in case this thing really puts in a run. But now let's talk about some day trading levels. 437 definitely looks to be a pre-market low area here. It looks like we also had some resistance in the after hours. So I don't know how strong that was. 437 definitely one of the levels here today. And then what did we have here for the high? I had 442.17. Yeah, 442.17 going to be your upside high. God, we're almost there already. So watch that if that gets popped.
I wouldn't, go long on this for a period of time. I also wouldn't short this for any period of time. We've seen shorts get killed in this market.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be on either side. If I was going to do anything with this at all, I would just be day trading it, which is totally fine.
Yep. And then obviously, if you have a long-term view like the Lynn Randy, Tesla's a tech company, long-term view, I'd imagine you got to be long here and then maybe kind of protecting your position with day trades, the ATM style that they've used so effectively.
Hey, look, I'm not trying to beat up Tesla like it's going to go back down to 200 or lower, but this thing is extended. It needs to cool off just like all those drone plays, and then they can, find a bottom or a base and then rip higher.
Well, what about the text that you sent me this weekend where you said, I want to smoke Lion like a Philly blunt? What about that one?
Can you put it on the screen?
I'm just
I don't remember exactly what I said.
I know. I'm just trying to get stuff fired up here. I'm just trying to have some fun here on a Monday. That's all. That's all.
Look, I'm not saying it's going back to nothing, Lion. I'm just saying it's going to cool off. That's just how stocks trade. They don't go up forever.
I'm joking around. Maybe I should have been a little bit more careful there with some of the jokes. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Jennifer. It's great to see you. Glenn giving us a level here for Tesla. I'll buy 432.62. Glenn, you've done a really great job with some of those fib levels on some of these active names that have been moving around, and not just Tesla. Chewy comes to mind. So really, really good stuff there, Glenn. We'll see if that 432.62 level comes into play here. You guys, look, like I said, we gotta have some fun. We're gonna have some fun this week. That is for sure. The closer we get to Christmas, the happier I get and the more fun. I just want to say the more fun I like to have. That's what we're gonna do here, folks. We're gonna smile. Let's rock. Seahorse trading.
Yeah, you gotta.
And actually, really quickly, I'm sorry to interrupt you again. It's okay, Ryan and 13. I am a big boy. Lion, I would not have made that joke if I didn't think that you could handle it here. So no worries there. We're going to have some fun. Oh, Jay. Okay, Jay, I'm going to highlight this. How were the pancakes? They were absolute money. Let me tell you. We're open here. I don't want to talk over the opening print. I made pancakes yesterday on my Blackstone, and they were phenomenal. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look. SIDU here, right beneath the VWAP. Watch for a 230, 231 cross to the upside there on SIDU. Tesla's first move was back down to that 440 area.
Yeah, just be careful with SIDU. That's a pretty, clear looking head and shoulders. If we don't get support right about here at the 65 EMA on the 5-minute and turn around to recapture VWAP, then I think we might see a print of maybe about 210, possibly lower.
Okay. AEHR, that first move was above 14 out of the open. It looks like NMHI is trying to figure out which way it wants to go. AEHR popping.
Yep. That's going to halt probably.
I didn't get in this. Darn it. My buy was still sitting out there at 14. I was too late on that. That's my own fault. I got no one to blame but myself.
This is very spready. This is very spready.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
but it looks like it's going to try and take out 1483, which is the pre-market high. W key also going as well. Not as much as AEHR, but it's pushing up now over VWAP.
W key right to that. There we go. And now through that VWAP there, W key looking pretty good here. ONDS, let's go, dude. Let's absolutely go. 172 here on ONDS as we gap and move higher.
RCAT broke over that level I talked about in pre-market, but it still came right back in. So not sure about RCAT right out the open here. Maybe this does push up higher, but it pulled real quickly after breaking over that 1038 level. Good morning, Chris. MSTR.
From Raleigh, North Carolina, on its way to Florida. Way to go, Chris.
MSTR. And then let's see, you were also mentioning.
Yeah, let's check MSTR. I haven't looked at that out of the open here yet.
LAES, this is going down. Support might be around 230. Soundhound hit 1822 in the pre-market. It went lower out of the open, getting some support from the 65 EMA, currently above VWAP, but I'm not sure about this one right now.
Look at Soundhound. This is a nice little move here. Soundhound, watch that 18 level. I think we go here for 18, honestly.
So the thing is that 1814 was the all-time high prior to that pre-market print of 1822. So we pass 1814, we're into price discovery area. It would be new all-time highs. So, and that's a big run that this thing's had. And so maybe we start to see a cooling off here at Soundhound because of how much it's run. I mean, look
here's your pull. Here's your pull. Just as you were saying that.
But just look at the move it's had since the beginning of November. It's just been crazy.
Saidu, this move through its VWAP going for its pre-market high levels. I've got 255 as your first one there on SIDU.
Just be careful with that one.
AEHR pulled off that 1450 spot after that initial impulse move. RCAT gave up the entire pop, but did not break down. Watch for RCAT maybe to move back towards some of those highs on RCAT. Ed George asking about TKO. Sorry for interrupting you there. TKO, this is not one that we've taken a look at here. Volume looks really low. This is TKO Group Holdings. Premium Sports and Entertainment Company.
Yeah,
UFC.
That's the one that has to deal with Netflix, right?
I must. Yeah. Corpay cross-border name global FC partner at UFC. So I don't really have a line on this one, Ed, but this looks pretty good here. And I'm not really sure for a trade. Look at this daily. This is a great looking daily chart here.
ONDS, that went up to its pre-market high, printed slightly higher, then it came right back in. I gotta be honest, I haven't taken any trades today just because I feel a little over abundance of confidence, of cautiousness. I mean, I'm just not sure. We're not seeing some follow through on some of these moves. Be careful, folks.
Okay. Yeah, I have no day trades here, but looking pretty good kind of across the board here.
A lot of these things are just, they're popping out of the gate and then they just pull. No day trades here yet for me. Just I need to see a little bit more weakness and a little bit more stabilization of a base.
And some of the other stocks doing the opposite, right? Like LAES here, excuse me. This sold off right out of the open, bounced right back to VWAP, and it's holding there.
Yeah. NMHI, that one that bought the crypto miner. That one might be trying to turn around here, but it's beneath VWAP, so it's going to have to recapture that VWAP first, which I currently have at 316.
Okay, W buy. This pulled in a little bit. And MHI, that is trying to turn around. VRDN right back at the VWAP. This actually just crossed through the VWAP. VRDN here. This is also not part of the drone play, by the way.
Going to mention that GUR is popping, Gorilla Technology.
Okay. Bonjour, smoked tuna.
Looks like, 971 is the intraday high there with that one. Had a huge morning on Friday. Didn't ever get back up to those levels. Actually, we're higher than we were yesterday or on Friday. But we need to get through 975.
VRDN looking like this is going to try and go higher here. I didn't get filled, a little bit too spready there. Good morning, Anne-Marie, the one and only Anne-Marie band. We could see inventory correction before the run-up. Speaking in terms of the industry indices, excuse me. Good morning, Anne-Marie. Great to have you here. The RDN so far holding above its VWAP here. How's the market doing here? S&P futures looks like it came off the high a little bit there. Still up 0.3% here. Dow futures about flat, only up 0.1 here. And the NASDAQ a little bit higher than 0.5%. So NASDAQ continuing higher here out of the open. How's MSTR doing? I know we talked about that joining the NASDAQ here today.
NVIDIA's down, like really down.
NVIDIA down 2% here. So has the tide finally changed here on NVIDIA? What do you think?
Keep an eye on RCAT for one. Two, for NVIDIA. I mean, we've been talking about this potentially going down for a while, but it could also just be rotation. I mean, I don't know exactly the reason for the down move today, but we've talked a lot about how overcooked this thing's been, and that there's going to be some unwinding with this. Don't know how low it's going to go, but we also have identified the head and shoulders on the daily chart. Guess what? We're resolving that.
Yes, we are.
If we continue to get this resolution, we're going to lose 130.
We've actually lost the trend line here that's making this nice little triangle. I've got 128 as your next stop here at that 100-day, and then 115.5 beneath that at your 200-day. This would be awesome. Would love to see more and more folks file out of NVIDIA and maybe participate in some other areas of the market. This is good. As far as I'm concerned here, this is good.
Yeah. I also noticed that
pounding lows.
We're getting a mention on SMCI. Oh man.
Look at Broadcom, by the way, going the opposite direction of NVIDIA, that taking the next leg higher here out of the open. Let's go to SMCI for you.
Yeah. SMCI, we also were talking about this consolidation area being a potential resistance, and so far we've gotten that, but it's also got a lot of other underlying issues as well. This, to me, this still is going to looks like it's going to end up maybe under $20 someday. There might be some kind of back and forth price action in between that time, but ultimately, I think this is going to end up going back beneath 20.
Okay.
Google going up. W keep hopping. Just reading what the folks in the chat are saying.
Yep. LAES. This was a dip and rip, dip right down to that 240 area and a pop right back up here. No position for me on that one, but that one was good. W key looking like it's currently trying to take out those pre-market highs. I've got that at about 1060 here on W key. Watch for that to move here. Still no day trades for me yet today.
LAES, we continue with this volume. I'd be looking for a push through 3. That would take out the pre-market highs and give us some. Geez, that would be a really good move if we could get 3. Look at the MACD on the 5-minute. Everything is set up nicely for a push over 3. We just need to make sure the volume matches.
Okay.
Really good setup here.
Okay. So there's your setup on LAES. Tesla getting a mention here. Did we pop right out of the open on Tesla? Yeah, we sure did. Higher we go here on Tesla. Gonna go after some of those levels. Yep.
Okay.
Nice. Yep. Tesla beast. Nice move there, Jay. Jay, what upside levels do you have on Tesla? I can't remember if you've given us those before. Tesla here continuing to push out of the open.
LAES continuing to push as well. Looking for that break. Man, there's a big wall at 3 as well.
RCAT, by the way, looking like that might try and go as well. LAES getting a little heavy here at 280.
Yep, it got up to 285. Haven't had any real body closes above there, so that's a resistance level. 285, 295. That's the range. We break through that. We're taking out 3, and let's see where we go here after 3.
LAES just soaked up the shares that were available for sale there at 285. Ate them right up. It's coming in a little bit off that, but that looked pretty good.
I don't know that it would get up to 780, but that's, an upside level where it could go to.
I've got size. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I've got size here at 290. It right as I was starting to say that, it looked like it was going to tick up and try to challenge that. Did not quite get there yet, though. No, yeah, tell you what, I've got no position here on LAES. I feel like I'd be chasing if I go after this. So I'm going to try and be patient here. I know I'm itching to trade, but I'm going to try and be patient with this move here on LAES. Don't want to chase. UBXG, we talked about that one earlier. Is that moving here? UBXG.
Well, W key over 10 now. Trying to take out, it ran right up to the pre-market high of 1066, and now it's might be trying to flag here. We'll have to wait and see, but as long as it holds VWAP, could push higher. NMHI has not been the trade today, but it might be getting support from the 65 EMA. So if you're looking for a trade there, maybe a level to watch. Don't know about this one. This has not worked out today for anybody, I think, unless you were shorting it. MSTR, that had a nice, this actually had some really good reversal of tweezer candles here. On the 5-minute, we dropped out of the open, turned around and had a candle that almost exactly matched the drop. Now we're holding above VWAP. Let's see if we can break over, what is this, 427?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'd really like to see this try to take out one of its highs here. Volume looks pretty good, but I want to see the price kind of change around here. Yep.
Is ripping.
GRRR.
Broke over those pre-market highs and held them and held VWAP. Now we're moving up towards the $10 area. Let me see where this can potentially go.
Yeah, I think this has got a date with $10 here. I have the pre-market high from Friday right up here at 1023 as well, 13.
Speaking of 13, that's a potential level it might get to on volume. If we can get that volume, if we can get that kind of volume to take us to 13, it seems like a pretty reachable level.
S&P futures here coming back in a little bit here, up about 0.25% now, 0.25. GER right at 10 now.
ONDS. Just
Is that coming back on?
well,
Or did it break down?
No, it recaptured its VWAP, but it seems to have slowed down. Let's see if it can get back over 170, because that seems to be a big area for it. We popped up to 175, but it just came right back in. So let's see if we can get over 170 and hold above that.
UMAC also really strong here. This had a nice little push up, took out the pre-market high. UMAC continuing to go higher here. Looks like Jay's on that. Jacob, good morning. Nice to see you. Mentioning UAVS. This also ripping here on volume. Great call here, UAVS.
Wow. The drone plays are back.
22%. They're back. They're back, folks. Really good stuff, Jacob.
That's good stuff. Okay, let's see here.
Saidu kind of rolling over. That one feels a little bit heavy there. I'd be careful with that.
If you look at a daily chart for UAVS and you have some of these EMAs turned on, $8 looks really interesting.
Okay, let me bring that up. I do have the here's your daily. Oops, that's the weekly daily chart. Which moving average? Or eight? You said $8.
65 EMA on for the
yep, got that.
chart.
That's right here. I've got that at 985 here.
Okay, it's at 8 for me on my broker.
Interesting,
but should be it's a potential level.
Yeah, and we're off just kind of slightly, and it's just on some of these big movers that have put in some crazy ranges.
W key trying to push over that 1066 level. Here we go.
Yep, there it is. God,
Jesus,
I don't have any of these. LAES might be trying to go over that level there. I've got that at 287 on LAES. Volume looks good here on W key.
Yeah. This could be another one of those overblown rippers. So let's just see how far this goes. Now over 11. Well, it was over 11 a second ago. Let me see if I can. Okay, so we got right up to the level I'd mentioned earlier, the 1072. I think I may have mentioned that. No, here we go. Next one, 1470 for W key. That's a kind of a crazy level, but we'll get there.
This thing is like I said, volume really looks good there so far on that one. ONDS holding here at 165. PDYN, I know that you guys are taking talking about PDYN here. That was a good dip buy earlier here today.
GER
certainly looks that way. GER, you're mentioning.
Tapped 10, came back in, putting in some upper shadows here, but let's see if it can hold VWAP on, if it cools off. There's the pre-market high on Friday was 1024. That'd be the level I'd be watching for it for a breakover.
BlackBerry here, ticker BB. This is popping above 3. I also noticed a couple of chat members, mentioning BBAI. This is 280. So BB and BBAI. ONDS pop up to 175 and then a yank. Not actively trading that, just kind of holding that one.
Oh, well, BB had news. They're going to be they're going to be selling Cylance to Arctic Wolf. W key actually is going to halt. It's halted now.
W key halt here, 1162. No position for me on this W key. What a rip there.
Yeah.
It's all about the volume. That told the story here on W key.
W key could get really stupid. It could get really stupid.
Okay.
So be careful there.
Playboy getting mentioned here. That's PLBY.
That was on the list earlier. UMAC went up to 1373 and knifed. MSTR is trying to get back over 420. Well, it's over 420. Actually, no, 425. That really seems to be like the level it's been trying to get over and hold over. So if we continue to make some 5-minute candle closes over 425, I'd be looking at the price of it to push back up to the pre-market highs, which I have at 436.
Okay. This, I'll tell you what, this micro strategy, I know I'm just looking at an intraday here, but this 1 and this 5, it sure looks like this wants to go higher. Sure looks like this wants to try a level higher here. We'll see if it ends up getting it. Bitcoin is taking off here. I've got 106,400 on the futures. So that Bitcoin at the highs here this morning.
LAES. It's watch for a 3 break here. This is I think this is where we're going to get it. Just need to make sure we get that volume that's going to take us through 3. There's a lot of shares to chew through. So just as long as the volume expands, we're going through 3 in LAES.
There are a lot of shares there. You're right about that.
Wow, Paladine.
That's that PDYN, right?
That's back up to pre-market highs now. AEHR really falling down now.
RCAT trying to reclaim VWAP. VRDN, this continuing to move above its VWAP. Didn't buy that one earlier. Maybe I should have. The AVGX of Broadcom levered ETF. That thing's wild. Broadcom continuing to print highs here. Who took Anne Marie's Broadcom trade? That thing should be paying.
LAES.
LAES. We're still waiting for that 3 test here, right? Yeah.
We just need it. This is it should do it right here. If it just needs that volume.
I see a little bit of size there on the offer at 290, but then obviously the big spot there at 3.
Because if it doesn't do it here, I think this is going to be a pretty ugly pull.
Yeah, a sideshow, that's possible. We're limited. We have no set delay, obviously, on our stream, but we are obviously at the mercy of, the connection, whether it's YouTube or the going through the stream software and all of that. So I don't think there's anything that we can do here. It's just dependent on the connection. LAES pulling back a little bit now. You really don't want this to break down. I got to think as long as it holds 280, you might have a spot here for this move above 3. There is a bid brought in at 285 trying to support it.
Yeah, you can see it's really just trying to get after 3 there.
Yeah, it sure is.
It just needs that volume to come in and take out those big sellers. All right, I'm going to look around while that does its thing. Paladine still making new highs. This thing is on a tear now. Broke through Friday's highs, so Friday's eliminated. We're coming up.
Playboy might be going for those highs. Gurr above 10, and man, a lot of stuff going on. I'm sorry for going all over this. A lot of stuff's moving here.
Paladine finding resistance from the Thursday pre-market low.
Paladine volume looking pretty good here too. This little volume pump in there, like that.
Gurr through 10 again and looking to take out 1024. That was the Friday pre-market high.
AEHR pulled back here. That gave it up. Well, I tell you what, that initial move might have been a bull trap there. LAES, Smoke Tuna mentioning this is a bag holder, and I know we were just kind of watching that move here at the top. LAES did not really go through that 3 move here. Watch for a potential knife on this one if you're trading it. Looks like they did walk a offer down to that 295 intraday high there.
Oh man, UMAC about to lose some. Actually, it's going to lose all of the pre-market here in a bit. W key open popped up to 1178, pulled a little bit. Let's see what happens now. Okay. Probably ends up going higher. BBAI.
Yeah, here you go on W key. That's kind of a disappointing halt. Now it's starting to pull a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, LAES coming down to VWAP. Just didn't have the volume to get through 3.
Nope, and you called it. You said it's got to do it right here, and you called that spot pretty perfectly, 13. ACHR looks like that came in here. Did we have news on that? No. HC Wainwright this morning gave it a $12.50 price target there. ACHR. It's an issue from last week.
And take note of the insider selling in ACHR. I think that's something to be mindful of as well. they think that if the stock is worth selling, then it could be.
Jay, I think you're right here. You did a really good job calling these Dave trades last week. Had a lot of back and forth here. Looks like that 85 level might be gone now. Pushed off of 84 here. $100 certainly looks to be the next spot. Got what, 103 and change as that recent high. This Dave, this looks strong, like it's trying to go higher here. This was good, Jay. I know this was really good for you last week.
I mean, Archer really needs to blow through 10 at some point. I don't know if that'll be today though. W key over 12. We're gonna get to that point that crazy spot, huh?
And I'm not in this one.
All right, so to reiterate, that crazy spot was 1473. That is the 65 EMA on the monthly. No guarantee it gets there. That's why I call a crazy level, but we've seen some of these halters rip into these crazy levels.
Yeah, we have.
They end up looking not so crazy after.
The volume stick tested that level. That's a joke. That's a joke. The volume stick did push up and test the level there on the chart, but that's just because it's overlaid. That doesn't mean anything.
GUR had a great breakthrough 10 and went up to 1017, pulling a little bit now.
BBAI continuing to print new highs here. Looks like this has a $3 magnet in it. It was not on this BBAI at all here this morning, but that looking pretty good as well.
Might be getting a reversal here with AEHR. Had a nice bounce off the 65 EMA on the 5-minute.
We got getting mentioned here. RCAT is pulling. It's ahead of its earnings here today. It'll be interesting to see where RCAT kind of holds here prior to that earnings report.
Paladine keeps moving up, but it's very low volume now. So I'd be a little bit careful with that one.
Asana having a good day. Was there any news here on Asana? Asana price target raised from 19 to 30 at Bank of America. That's as of, that was last Wednesday, though. That wasn't even this morning. Beg your pardon. Asana, nice little follow through here, up 9%.
Bought BBI Friday. I mean, that's the one that keeps getting touted as the next Palantir, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, well then jump in this one, and I'll see you at 70.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Volume looks pretty good here today. Micron, someone was mentioning this earlier. What a rip here on Micron. They're going to have earnings in a few days. That's Wednesday after hours.
So we get the rate decision, and we get Micron earnings.
Yep, and Lennar that same day. Quantum here, ticker QMCO. This has been a recent mover on that quantum theme that we've been talking about. This has really kind of pulled back, but doesn't look like it's breaking. This is actually an interesting level if this can hold here. LAES doing exactly what 13 said and pulling back to the VWAP, looking pretty good. I actually might try some of this at VWAP if we get down there. Let's see.
Micron, one thing that stands out to me here is that we're coming up to the 200-day SMA again. It's kind of interesting because the last time we were even messing around with that SMA, we ended up creating a triple top and we sold off a little bit. So getting through the 200-day SMA and then breaking through let's just say it looks like it's about 114 and change. Say about 114 and 15 cents. We'll just call it that for now. But it needs to get above 114. That is a triple top area that it's going to need to break out of, but it needs to recapture the 200-day SMA on its way up.
Okay. LAES back down to the VWAP right here. So watch to see if this bounces here. 270, 271 looks to be that area. On LAES, we'll see if that ends up moving here. Looks like they're bringing in some more sellers on LAES. Watch if that gets taken.
I don't know when it's going to happen, but the next time Archer comes up to try and test $10, that might be the time where it breaks through 10. Looks like we got a little bit of a pull with W key. Don't think this is necessarily selling off yet. Still above VWAP. CDIO might be turning around.
Okay, that was Wiss's from earlier. Let me check CDIO. Haven't seen that on the scanner yet here.
Upper shadows pairing with GER. Be careful with that one. This could roll over. AEHR. This one looks like it's trying to curl. It's curling.
Yeah, it looks like this is trying to go to the VWAP.
So look for it to recapture 1350.
Rigetti getting mentioned here. RGTI. That's part of that quantum theme from last week. Don't see that on the scanner either, but we'll take a look at it. That's been a big mover for us recently. That's a nice little dip and rip there too.
Did I say Archer was extended? Because last week it was. Or what day did I say that on? Because if I said it on Monday, that's coming off of a rally that we just had it was pretty extended. Or was it the week before?
LAES right here. Looks like it lost the VWAP. It's trying to recapture it. This is going to have to do this here in short order. I did take a little bit down here on the VWAP, but if this doesn't come back here, we'll probably skedaddle. UMAC breaking some resistance there. Breaking heart the knives on these. Sorry, I'm not sure what you meant by that. UMAC came back in. We'll see if this turns around, though. ONDS getting a little knifey here. Careful. Some of these names are pulling back now.
Looks like XIII who's trying to turn around. Hasn't recaptured VWAP yet. That's at 230. But trying to turn around here.
LAES, this is trying to bounce here. But if we pull, we might just wait this one out. Wait for another turnaround. You said SIDU, right? Yep, here you go.
It's trying to turn around. Let's see if it recaptures VWAP. What else?
With saying CDIO, no shorts available on CDIO. This will run. Just be patient. Okay.
And it could run once it gets through 147. If it takes that wall out there, I would free it up.
LAES, if it breaks 260, I'm out. This is continuing to get pushed down here. Took a little starter there at VWAP. So far, VWAP bounce not looking like it's materializing.
Yeah, if there is going to be a bounce, it should be right about this area. We're in a demand zone.
Yeah.
So if it loses this, then
that's
we're
looking. Yep.
Yeah, then we could be going towards 235, probably even 220.
I'll tell you what, Vago here continuing to move higher, ticker AVGO. This might have been the trade of the day here for the day trade. I know, like I mentioned earlier, excuse me, I know Anne-Marie gave out a Broadcom butterfly here. I'm pretty sure we hit that. I think 240 was the body, wasn't it, Anne-Marie? I think we're probably pretty good on that one.
I've seen a lot of consolidation in these names this morning. Looks like Tesla had a nice sell-off and rebound on intraday, Got up to 447.41, 3 red candles. Now we're reversing. Maybe you go higher, but it's got to recapture VWAP first.
Okay. Tesla's trying to bounce here. We'll see if it does that, but it is that time. It's 10 o'clock on a Monday. Time for a special guest. We welcome on Matt Maley. Matt, happy Monday. How are you doing here today?
Well, it's December. And of course, December always means that the Patriots win every single week. Oh, no, oops. That was in the old days. I forgot.
Wrong year.
Oh, my God.
Okay, caught me off guard on that one. Let me ask you, were you rooting for Navy or Army over the weekend?
My nephew graduated from West Point a few years ago and is serving in the as a captain in the military right now in the Army. So I rooted for Army, I must admit. Oh. But it was a great win for Navy. I know that was their coach's first win in that important game. Nice upset. So it was such a great game.
Indeed, that was great, and thank you to your son for service. That is awesome.
My nephew.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. The only college football game that matters. Okay, Matt, we've got a lot of stuff going on here. Look, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this first, so I apologize. What on earth do you make of the whole drone story going on with the country here and off the coast of New Jersey?
Well, two things. Number one, Army Navy game bucket list. If you've never been,
I was going to ask you that. I've heard that.
I've
heard that. That's like the Indy 500. Everyone should go there once. You're confirming that for us, huh?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
If you like sports at all, especially if you like college football at all, and get there early to watch all the everybody march in and the whole thing. It's unbelievable. But anyway, the drone thing is just, it just gives people more reasons to be mad at the government. I mean, I joked, this weekend with people saying, the FBI knows that we know that they know what's really going on.
Everybody knows.
Everybody. It's like, to say that they don't know is ridiculous. And it just, this whole thing with, we had just had. I'm not trying to take political sides here. I'm just saying that one of the reasons that Republicans won both the presidency and both houses of Congress is that people are tired of the government not telling them, giving us, the straight look. Let's face it, the stock market's an all-time high, the economy's doing fine, and the employment's doing really well, and somehow the Democrats lost, because people just don't trust the government anymore. When they say they don't. When you're saying we just don't know what these drones are, come on, it's just ridiculous. Then how do you know that they're not going to hurt us? How do you know there's
exactly
about it if you don't know what?
But we'll shoot down a weather balloon.
Yeah. So it's just something. It again takes away our. President Biden isn't doing himself any favors recently with stuff like this, and between the pardons and now they're not claiming that they know what's going on. It just.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We've been playing that for a couple of weeks, so I just wanted to get that, see if you had any thoughts on that. Okay. Also, this week we've got the Fed coming on Wednesday. You have any thoughts for the market and what to do here or what to look for?
Well, it's going to be very, very important. It's interesting. It was funny. I was looking at the volume on the SPY in the last couple of weeks. It's really low.
Yes.
It's really dropped off. The QQQ is held up okay, but it's still lower. But SPY very, very low, dropped off. So activity's starting to fade a little bit, and that's fine. People are like, "Hey, we've had a great year. Let's just finish the year." And this, I guess my point is, the next couple of days they're going to be sitting on their hands even further. I think just because of what's going on, because this Fed meeting is coming up. Now the key is going to be, everybody's looking for a 25 basis point cut. What are they going to say about next year, though? Are going to be more cuts, not more cuts? There's talking about this hawkish cut thing. And the reason why it's important is that it's going to be important for group sectors. Number one, the bond market is suddenly reversed. We're seeing the bond yields, obviously, the 10-year yield push back up, approaching its highs from earlier, from just a couple of weeks ago, and we start pushing up towards 4.5%. I think at that point that's going to create some headwinds. So for the whole market, I'm sorry, but what I'm thinking is that, again, we got to keep an eye on what happens, what they say about what's going to happen next year. A lot of people are thinking, they'll just say data dependent, and but there's no question that the economy is improving. There's no question that the decline in inflation is starting to stall out. Not that it's going back up, but it's stalling out. So if we do get those higher yields, and you look at what's happened with the home builders in the last couple of weeks, even the banks, everybody's all bullish on the banks. Which I understand, because we're looking at we're looking at less regulation. We're looking at M&A activity picking up under Trump and all that. But the bank stocks, which had that huge Trump, are starting to pull back a little bit. And so, and then like I said, the home brothers. You have Toll Brothers up there. You look at the ITB home construction ETF. It's rolled over. If these rates continue to move back up, which means higher mortgage rates, we're going to have those things are going to see a bigger decline. And it will be really surprising, which will catch a lot of people off guard, is if the banks start to fall even more. Because, again, they've had a great run. They had a great run for several weeks. but nobody's talking about how they've rolled over a little bit. Again, this is not a major problem, but the whole idea that this whole interest rate situation has turned quite bullish is not out there. I mean, it's changing in front of our eyes. So Wednesday is going to be very important.
Yeah, indeed. And as you mentioned here, not only is the Fed decision on Wednesday, but Lennar, one of those home builders, also reporting earnings after hours here. This one has been breaking down. That toll chart, you told us about that early. You were on that real early here with that group. That toll chart now has rolled over to its 200-day. One more thing I wanted to mention regarding the banking that you also touched on there. We got a tweet on Friday from Unusual Whales. Quote, breaking, Donald Trump's team is exploring ways to significantly reduce, merge, or even eliminate top bank regulators. Trump advisors and officials from the Department of Government Efficiency inquired about abolishing the Federal Deposit Insurance Corp. So we got that news there on Friday. So we'll see what that means for banks here this week. One more thing I wanted to ask you about is going to be NVIDIA. For the longest time, this was the darling. It seemed like this traded up every single day, no matter how big it got, seemed to defy the law of large numbers. Now it looks like it's kind of rolling over here. We actually have a nice little triangle on this chart near the recent highs that it's so far broken. Looks like it's going towards the 100-day. What do you make here of NVIDIA? Do you like that this is maybe kind of coming back in and broadening out some of the market breadth? What do you think here with some of the chips, in particular NVIDIA?
Well, the one thing with NVIDIA, of course, is so important to the SMH, the semiconductor ETF. But as you mentioned with NVIDIA, is that, I mean, you could also look, if you go back to basically October, a head and shoulders pattern. And we're just breaking below the neckline of that pattern. You know, it's kind of a little bit of an upward sloping neckline, which you frequently have. So this is a concern. I do think what happens, you know, it looks like it's heading for its 100-day moving average. And whether it bounces off that, because that has been kind of a key level for the last several months, if it breaks below that, then we got some problems. You say, well, one of the things we are seeing is that this rotation within the Mag 7 names. We saw a little bit of rotation last week within the semiconductor group, with Broadcom having that great big thing. But if so I guess if you can continue, Tesla's another. I mean, Tesla is up 70% or something. You know, it's up 250% since April. I mean, is Tesla's earnings really got that much? I mean, I understand that his teaming up with Donald Trump is going to help him, but Tesla's outlook really gotten that much better? So I guess my point is a lot of people are kind of rotating out of NVIDIA, but staying within the Mag 7. Right now it's Tesla, Amazon, Google's doing a little bit better. But if it's some reason they all start to roll over, that's going to be a big problem, because the SMH has been underperforming for 6 months now, or at least 4 or 5, 6 months now. That's exactly what we saw in 2018. That group topped out in the spring, and it underperformed, and it was followed by a 20% correction in the overall market in the fourth quarter of that year. This time it's a couple of months later. This time it topped out in the summer. Okay, now we're about 6 months later, and so we're kind of going to that thing. If the SMH really starts to roll over, and if NVIDIA breaks down, it will, because it's 25 or 23% of the SMH. If that starts to get hit, I think the rest of the market is going to be vulnerable to rolling over. It probably doesn't happen until after the first of the year, but you got to be very careful with that. My point is, and we've talked about this in the past, the chip stocks are not a lagging indicator. Sometimes they're a coincident indicator. They move up or down with the stock market. But whenever they move first, the stock market follows it. The S&P follows it up or down. It's never the SMH following the S&P. So maybe it's different this time. Maybe the S&P will maybe the SMH, the chip stocks, will bounce back and follow the S&P higher. But if history is any guide, and I'm talking about the last 4 decades, not just the last 4 years, last 4 decades, if history is any guide, if NVIDIA breaks down and the SMH breaks down, that's going to be a big warning flag for the market when we get into the new year. So my point is, I'm going to keep a very, very close eye on NVIDIA, not just this week, but in the weeks ahead.
Okay, really, really good stuff there, Matt. Folks, if you want to trade along with Matt, went ahead and threw the link to the Universe webinar down there. Contact Rodrigo. He'll get you hooked up. Matt, amazing stuff here today. 13, did you have anything before we let him go? I know he covered the whole list.
No, he nailed everything. I can't wait to hear what he's got to say next week.
All right,
Okay.
Matt, really good
Playoffs,
stuff. Have a good one.
NCAA football playoffs this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk
Look,
about those next Monday.
I can't wait. I see a lot of people wringing their hands about the college football playoffs. Matt, we haven't even played it yet. It looks awesome. I'm with you. Can't wait. We'll talk about it next week. Have a good one.
You too, guys.
Take care.
That is, Matt. And like I said, I mean, this guy is all over all angles of the market all of the time. Folks, if you want help, be sure to check out that link. Be sure to check out the webinar. Matt gets it done, and he is printing every single week in his room there. Really good stuff. We're grateful for him joining us here today. Okay, let's get back here. Looks like while we were talking to Matt, W key started to go. What's going on here?
Yeah, I was noticing it started to flag.
Oh,
when,
yeah.
Matt was talking, so I said it might turn around and go here, and then I mentioned it when it was starting to break that intraday high. Here we are at 1320 with the intraday high now. Still looking for that crazy level, which I have at tell you what it is again. It's 1475 now since we've got the price to move up a little bit, but 1475. That's the crazy level. We're not too far away. Just another, $1.55 from the high that we made.
Okay, I'd love to see some craziness get rolling here. No position for me on W key. Grats to all of you that are hitting this. Really awesome stuff. This actually looks like this is trying to go for another high, literally as we're talking here.
Also, PDYN is putting in an interesting formation. So waiting to see if this finds a base above VWAP, and if it does, I'd be looking for the price to turn around and take out 410. So.
This was a really good call. Jay Rice all over PDYN earlier here today. That was a good dip buy. Kudos to all of you for being on some of these. UAVS also getting a mention here in chat. Let's take a look here at UAVS. Look at that. Zabev, that looks like this is going for some new highs here. Watch this intraday high of day break if we get it.
You want to draw a trend line in SIDU? Because it looks like we're trying to.
Dude, I love trend lines. Let's do it.
It looks like we're trying to recapture VWAP and break through a trend line here.
This pre-market high through these little highs here on the intraday.
Yes. Now,
bang.
Yes. Now, one thing to keep in mind: we did have that head and shoulders in the pre-market earlier. So, I'm not saying we should just jump in right now and let it and break out. It could find further rejection and go lower before it fully resolves this head and shoulders. Looking like it's doing pretty good right now. I want to see a break of this trend line.
SIDU, this is literally, as we were talking, this is popping up to that trend line. Let's see if it snaps this here, 13. Really good stuff there. By the way, I love that Matt mentioned that in that head and shoulders on NVIDIA that you talked about earlier. We're all looking at the same thing. That means we're in the right spot. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That pattern really stood out on that daily chart. So let's see if we can get a full resolution. Now, to his point about the 100-day SMA, that might be an early support level, because if you look at the RSI for NVIDIA, we are coming down pretty quickly to that oversold level. So I would think that if we do get to the 100 pretty soon here, that would be a really good short-term bounce spot. Maybe we see some the price try to recover over a couple of days, try to recapture that 132 level. But I would ultimately think that it resolves lower to the 200-day SMA. That's kind of where I'm headed with NVIDIA right now. I think we might go to the 200.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna be with you. I'll wait that one out, because I think if we go to the 200 here, 13, this is gonna actually be a great swing trade setup. We'll see. Love this here. World Peas, please. So World Peace, please. I'm totally naming my next puppy VWAP. Look, controversial take here. VWAP is a great name for a puppy. I'm going to throw that out there. Only your trader friends will get it, but I think that's a sweet name for a puppy. Maybe I'm on the in the minority there. LAES breaking down. By the way, I did get stopped out of that one earlier, so that's done. Let me go back to the main workspace here.
I like VWAP as a dog name because VWAP is a great indicator. And if you have a dog that you're going to use to let you know when there's intruders, that's a great indicator too. So VWAP, definitely a strong name.
Love it. Love it. Let me adjust this little trend line here that you had us on.
All right.
Looks like we did try to break that on SIDU. We'll see if we can get above it.
Yeah.
Playboy, watch this to possibly break this 185, 186 area. That looks like that's trying to go for $2.
W key polling. Let's be careful with this one.
Which one? W key?
W key. That's beneath 12 again, coming towards VWAP. Paladine might be getting that bull flag resolution here. Oh, here we go. It's starting to move. So looking for the price to get back over 410.
What's up?
World peace, please. When Al Gore created the internet, I don't think he was. I'm not sure he knew about latency.
Oh gosh. Jay's got the hot sauce out this morning for his breakfast omelet. Amazing how quiet the Palantir pumpers went from loud to very quiet in less than 3 hours. Hey, I'm sure we can find the jot it down guy for you, Jay. If that would help, I'm sure we can go find him for you. Honest to God, all jokes aside here, would love a pullback on Palantir. Give me a pullback where it stops and does not continue to break down. I think that would be awesome for especially another long side trade. At this point, now we're just chasing.
UMAC looks like it's going to go to 1140. It just looks like it's pretty weak. Having a hard time recapturing the 65 EMA at this particular stage. I think it goes lower, and if it does, then I'm looking at 1140.
Smoke Tuna, he's got the jokes here this morning. A dog named VWAP, great wingman. If it crosses the girl, you ask. If not, don't ask. Smoke Tuna, literally taking trading and trying to apply it to real life here. You'll get all the bonus points in the world from me on that. I'll tell you that much. LOL, Smoke Tuna here. We're out here having fun. It's a fun Monday. Smash up the like. By the way, we were at a key level of people earlier as we hit 420 there. So smash up the like for my guy 13. Smash up the like for the information for our guests. We've had 2 guests here already on Monday with Christian and Matt, and they both knocked it out of the park here. So, okay. Looking around here, what else we got going here? We got going? Tesla. Okay, so Tesla, that had a nice little dip, and it looks like we're going right back to the highs here. Watch this intraday high here on Tesla. I've got that at 447. Boy, who traded this one off to lows? Looks like it's almost 10 points there. Oh, I'm disappointed I didn't get that. Dave. Oh my God. I saw play, related it to. Okay, so that's hilarious.
You got some cross wires there now, huh?
Yeah, I have all types of cross wires here. Listen,
SIDU.
The ticker play is Dave and Buster's. Dave, a stock that Jay has been talking about all morning, not related at all to Dave and Buster's. That actually did print to over 100 here. Sorry about that crisscross. You said SIDU. Let's do it.
I think this. If we get this volume expansion here, we're going to go through this trend line and try to hit some of these highs we've had earlier today. I think the volume at this point is going to tell you the tale. Crow mentioning cooler as well.
That was spot on, by the way, with that trend line. Here we are. Let's see if we can break above. I've got 246 as the day high, and I see some size there at 250 on the level 2. There we go. There's 250. Are we going to pop above? Nope. They pulled it right off that spot. Let's see if they go above 250 here. There we go. 252. Okay, decent.
This is looking pretty good. Maybe kind of put those trailing stops on or raise the stops if you've got them just to be safe.
255 right there. Looking across here real quick. I'll do it on this screen here. So we broke that trend. That's great. 260 next spot, 270 the spot after that. There you go.
Yeah, came up to the right shoulder high, and now it's pulling a little bit. So that would be the first. I mean, if we break over that shoulder, this is going to nullify the head and shoulders pattern. But we might get a back test of that trend line before it goes higher.
Okay.
With the mention of cooler, you look at a daily chart. This thing had popped. It looks like it may have found a base, and now it's going to try and take the next couple of legs up. So we'll see if that's what we get out of cooler here.
Market is pulling here. Izzy, you're all over it. Good morning. If I hadn't said good morning to you, it's been a busy day here this morning. SPY here is pulling. We talked about the S&P futures earlier. S&P futures only up 0.2 here. You were saying MicroStrategy 13 MSTR?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, 430 is going to be a bit of a resistance area. We've got a lot of consolidation right around that area. So between four, I would say, about 430 and 435. That's going to need a lot of volume to get through that $5 range there. But once we do, this thing is likely going to be printing some much higher highs.
Okay, here you go. Bitcoin is ripping here. Bitcoin spot price 106,500 on BTC. Look at this chart here. Boy, oh boy, that Bitcoin is strong. Man, Bitcoin real strong here. That's going to help MicroStrategy all day. How about some of those other places? I know we get asked about Mara and Riot here. How are those looking? Mara at the highs. Oh, yeah. 24.5 got deleted right there. Let's go. Let's Riot. Hut, maybe. Let's look at some of those smaller plays here.
LSK, 280.
And then say again.
CLSK, 1281.
CLSK. What was that? NMHI, right? That was the little guy today that talked about adding Bitcoin to its balance sheet. So interesting. So despite the move in Bitcoin here, this stock just completely giving up the huge move that it had here in the pre-market. Look at that, almost a complete retracement of that move down.
Yeah, this went back to start. So
yep.
It might be finding a base here. Give it a little bit more time, see if it starts to curl back up, because this thing could return to VWAP at the very least. So that'd be something I'd be watching for in NMHI.
I'm seeing MicroStrategy 400 puts come across the wire here. Looks like someone just kind of trading this back down to 400. We'll see there. ONDS coming in a little bit. Remember, I'm not actively trading that. That's a long-term hold for me, so I'm not necessarily worried about the back and forth intraday. I want that much higher.
Paladine went up to $4 on that bounce, but it came right back in, still holding at this 380 level.
It's still holding 380. Parker's Thinkorswim indicator, PanW after stock split thoughts. So I did talk a little bit about PanW earlier here. This is best in breed cybersecurity. My favorite cybersecurity stock. Now, I don't have any personal knowledge of the product itself. That is to say, I don't actually use the product itself. I absolutely love the stock. I've traded it a number of times, and this was actually one of my best trades from earlier in the year here when we got the bounce off the 200 plus the Pelosi push, if you remember that correctly. Now, we've actually moved above those recent highs here. 2-for-1 split. That was effective as of today. Really, as far as levels here, we're really looking at 205, right? 205 is going to be your upside level. But honestly, if PanW comes into any of these levels, I've got that at 190.5, 180, and 165.5. If it comes into any of those levels, I'm probably trying to trade for a move back to the highs. This has been any time this thing sells off, it gets met with a bounce back. So I'll try and do those at some of those support levels. You got anything here on PanW? I don't know if you chart this one often, 13.
Let's see what I got. That's not okay. This is looking at the. It's saying it's up 101%. I was like, that's not.
Nope, it's not. It's not. That's just it's the split. That's all. That one and MSTR. We had problems with those here today with the data feed.
Let's see here. I mean, it looks like that PanW could continue to go higher. Seems like 205 is a pretty strong resistance area.
Yep. And real quick here, Parker, you're asking PanW versus Zscaler. So I think I see why you're asking that. First of all, Zscaler has a little bit, the chart is a little bit more calm, right? Like we're not up near these highs. PanW has recently moved near these highs and is further away from its 200-day. I will say this, I like PanW a lot more than Zscaler. And if you're looking to trade Zscaler, wait this out. I think we do come back into that 185 level. I don't think the next move is going to be a breakout of 220 here on Zscaler. I think it's going to be a move back down to that 200.
Yeah, BBAI, that just took out 3. volume is starting to wane a little bit, but if it comes back, I'd be looking at 355 as my
Oh
next
my
play
God.
target.
Whoever was on BBAI today, you guys are getting a register ring and a one up. I was not trying to trade this one here today. What a mover. Drew, good stuff on this one. Aura's asking, did PanW split? Yes. Effective today, 2-for-1 forward split.
Oh, well, then that's why it's got that wonky, it's showing that wonky increase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's no big deal.
CLSK looking for 13. Not me, the price. It's gone up to 12.93. This on an absolute tear after a weak opening.
Our cat here, by the way, I know that this was volatile today. We've got earnings coming up after hours. We had a newsprint here this morning on our cat. This now, after all of the hustle and bustle, one might say, here we are here at VWAP. Shout out to you, hustle and bustle.
Yeah, Saidu is still holding, but don't like the way those wicks look on the past couple 5-minute candles. Really needs to hold that VWAP, yeah, and then it needs to take out 250.
Okay, here is your Saidu. We pretty much back tested that breakout spot. Let's see if we get above it. I'm with you on needing to hold that VWAP there. I think that's spot on 13. And then UAVS, got asked about UAVS here. What were the levels on UAVS again? The important one was right in here at this 642. We snapped it. We're actually flagging higher here now. I would say 665 going to be the next upside level there. 650 on the downside here.
Oh, I think he was looking for like one of those wild levels I had. I think.
Oh, 8. Okay, it's my bad then.
I think 8 was the one I mentioned for this one in UAVS. Don't recall there being a different level for that. I think it was 8. APLD ripping up. It says Srikar. All right, going to go back to some of these other names. Still looking for Paladine to do something with this formation. Volume is not looking good. CDIO. Guess we're still waiting for that one to do something. MSTR running into trouble at 429. Saidu might make a move. The one we want where it actually has a sustained breakout above the trend line, but again, VWAP. I'm sorry, not VWAP, volume. Need that volume. Saw we were getting mentions from DJT earlier. I have 38.50 as a potential breakout spot.
That was DJT you mentioned? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. Oh, man, we were right up there. What did you have, 38.50?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 38.50. I actually have a fib level here. This was a calculated level at 38.43. So off by 7 cents, 13. I think that's pretty good.
I'll have to tighten that up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's you. It might be me that has to tighten it up, frankly. That was pretty close there. And actually, DJT Soundhound looks pretty strong here today. Soundhound, let me put that on screen.
That has a nice curl. MACD's looking good. This is setting up to try and push through 1750. I see a big wall there. So let's see if we get that volume expansion, because if we do, it's probably going to go to 18 on a breakout of that level. All right, Paladine, what you got for us? Everything is just so slow moving right now. Maybe there's a handful that are trading better, but a lot of these names, they're just really, really slowing down. Izzy is mentioning Serve, S-E-R-V.
You know, that's been a really good trader. Is that getting rowdy here today? Yes, it is. Once again, I tell you what, this Serve, this was a great chat mentioned name that has given us day trade opportunities, catalysts, swing trade opportunities recently, and I missed it completely on Serve. Missed this one completely. Actually, it looks like we might be trying to take out this recent high here on Serve.
Well, if you like trend lines, you can draw one on a daily chart. It was served, but we have broken over the trend line, back tested it, and this is the move that we want, where it could take us to newer highs. Like closer to the July, August highs. Look at the daily chart. I mean, yeah, exactly. That looks really good.
Yeah,
So
it does.
we just need to get over this $15 level, and
yeah, it does.
good times.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, no, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And actually, Jonathan, ESOA, that is, we haven't looked at that here today. That's Energy Savings, or excuse me, Energy Services of America here. Your daily chart looking pretty good. The stock popping here today. Did we have news on this? Indeed, we did. Earnings this morning beat top and bottom line. Higher we go, plus 20% here. ESOA.
What energy?
Let's see here. I'm actually not familiar with this one. Engaged in providing contracting services for energy-related companies. The company is predominantly engaged in the construction, replacement, and repair of natural gas pipelines and storage facilities. This, remember, Tim Melvin has been saying that natural gas is going to be your big energy winner probably in 2025.
Why do I feel like this is one that was brought up in happy hour before?
I feel that way too. I know I haven't traded this one, but I feel like we talked about this one, didn't we?
Like we talked about it in the sense that it not necessarily has energy assets, but it's like like you said, contracting services. Like there's only maybe a handful of people are employed with this company, something like that. Let me double check and see if this is the one, because this sounds familiar to me. Let's just look. Really feel like this is that one. Meanwhile, just take a look here. XIII still trying to get over that trend line. Paladine, looks like we're going to hit 4 here pretty soon. That one seems to be working out pretty well. I'm pretty sure this is the one we were talking about, where it just does contracting services but doesn't necessarily own any assets. Let's here, I'll write this down. We'll double check with the group. All right, so Paladine looking for 4 here. It's
Yeah, and sorry, I was handling something here off the screen. Carmen mentioning TNXP. I know some of you are on those penny stocks. TNXP having a good day here, up 56% today. No position for me. Peers PDYN above 4. Actually, oh man, this looks like this is trying to go higher too.
Yeah, CDIO is starting to curl and needs to recapture VWAP, and then also XIII is it's starting to go now. Needs to be careful around 250. It's been rejected there multiple times already today, so it needs to have a lot of volume and breakthrough. It needs to do that. It needs to do exactly that.
Real quickly here, I'll go to it in a sec. Jay Rice, though, mentioning on PDYN. Jay, this was a great call. He gave this one to us early here today. That is much higher. That's resolving higher. Here's your XIII chart, 13. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yep. So it deleted that 250. It pulled a little bit, but the next wall is at 260. Volume needs to continue to expand like this, so we can get up through the pre-market levels. But let's see, 268 was the pre-market high. So far, so good on this one. But this is something that you're going to want to raise your stops or put a trailing stop on.
Super. Even if it goes more, nice job paying yourself here today. Good stuff on a Monday morning, Super. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I apologize if I'm not.
Linus alerting us to SGMT. Oh, here we go with XIII.
I was going to say 260. Watch that 260 spot. That was also a pre-market resistance area here, so we're going right there. So here's your SGMT. That is also trading higher here. Watch a 6 break there. Give me 1 sec, 13.
No worries. I don't see what the news was on this, unless this is part of the Oppenheimer predictions. I'd have to double check that story. Other than that, I don't know what this is going up on. The float is 27 million shares, so not necessarily the lowest of the float movers that we're looking for. Short interest, this might be where it's at. 15.3% of the float shorted, 10 days to cover. That is a short squeeze candidate. That is probably what we're seeing here with this one. Yeah, XIII was looking pretty good. 268 pre-market high. I mean, this could get really wild if it takes that out. All right, let's see. There were some other ones we were looking at here too. AEHR recapturing VWAP. Let's see if this one gets going. They had an upgrade in a $30 price target. How long ago was that? Oh, that must have been on
which one?
That must have been 2 Fridays ago. We're talking about SGMT. I don't know that that's necessarily why it's going up today. I mean, this is like 2 Fridays ago when they got that that Oppenheimer coverage. Don't necessarily think that's why it's moving today.
And stay focused here. Ryan, Tim Melvin is on point. I'll share some thoughts on natural gas during happy hour. There you go. Preview for the happy hour show today. Stay focused. Appreciate you. We're going to have Melvin on Wednesday. So if we need to ask any follow-up questions, we can go ahead and do that. By the way, we were talking about the S&P futures pulling back a little bit, have totally reversed that move now. S&P futures ticking to the highs here. S&P futures up 0.5% here now. NASDAQ leading the way up a full percent here. Look at this dip and rip on SPY. Izzy's 4 for 4. We are having a day yet again here in this channel. I love it. I absolutely love the energy.
I've had a few good wins today. I'm only in CDIO right now, waiting for it to do something. But other than that, it's been really good. Best one so far today was the Paladine. That one was a really good one.
Yeah, and I missed Paladine. Kudos to the rest of the group because I think that whole group was on there. I did hit XIII for a little bit, though. I basically got lunch money on XIII. Hardly anything there.
Well, this is about to give a dinner, it looks like.
Which one? Sorry.
XIII. It's about to give a dinner. We're going to break through 260 here, and then guess what? Everybody's eating.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it.
RCAT trying to push through VWAP. So there's another potential trade there. I mean, these things have really good setups, but the volume just really needs to match these. And in some cases, they're not, but in other cases, it's there just for enough time to make the move. And then it pulls. BDAI, that was a really good one. This one broke over 3, got as high as 318, pulled back a little bit, still getting support from about 305. Might continue to move up.
That's BBAI, correct?
Yep.
Just to make sure I got that correct here. Here you go on BBAI. Carmen, that's awesome too. Here, we're going to share success stories with the group. We'll do that all the time. Today is such a good day. Up 143% year to date in my IRA. Awesome. What a feeling. Amazing. None of this would be possible if I hadn't listened to Benzinga and pre-market prep. 10,000% because of my learnings. Look, Carmen, we appreciate that like crazy. Here's the one thing I do want to remember. You're a huge part of this, right? You are a huge part of this. You're the one that clicks the buttons at the end of the day. We're happy to help share information and ideas and all of that. But at the end of the day, folks, it's going to be you that accepts the risk and you that makes the decision. So pat yourself on the back too. Love trying to raise the tide for everyone out here.
There was a mention on SoundHound. W was saying sound 18. It popped up to there and came right back in. But if we can, it might cool off for a little bit. But if it gets back up to 18 again, remember 1814 is the all-time high in regular sessions. 1822 is the pre-market high. But we get through that, we're going to see price discovery, and who knows where it goes at that point. You have to bust out those fib extenders. Here's DJT looking to take out 3850. Let's look at the wall of sellers there. So imagine what happens if we get that, if we get through that.
Yep. Oh man. So let's see. What do I see here for that next one? I think probably that $40 level just because of the roundness of it.
Yep.
Next fib level I have is at 44.68.
44.68. I have 40, 41.30, 43, 45, 46.75, and then 50.
Okay. So we got a number of levels in there. Okay. Let's see if we get that rolling here.
But it is going to take a F ton of volume to get through that 38.50.
Okay. By the way, real quick here, just another quick check-in since we're talking about, eating and doing all of this and good days and all of that. McDonald's from last week. This is why we're looking at that January contract too. Needed enough time for this formation to play out. And boy, last week it was really toying with my emotions here as it looking like it was going to break down. I did add to this call position last week. Reminder, that is the January 3:15 calls here on McDonald's. Sure looks like we have an inverse head and shoulders. Today we have a nice little power candle recapturing that 50-day. I want to see a break above 303.5 into this gap. Then we can be eating. Ba-da-da-da-da. We'll see if we get that here on McDonald's ticker MCD. Looking good on those calls.
It would be fantastic to see that gap fill.
Oh, dude. I don't eat at McDonald's, so I wouldn't take any of my winnings there, but I would be thrilled. I would be absolutely thrilled. I think someone followed me into this trade, last week, the week before? Last week was brutal. Looks like we're coming back here this week with a vengeance. Let's see McDonald's pop higher.
W key. This is starting to look like it's got a 5-minute head and shoulders chart or pattern forming on the 5-minute chart. MACD is indicating that this is rolling over. It's still above VWAP, but if we start to look like it's going to lose VWAP, then that might be your indication to maybe get out of this before you see a big move down. That's W key. Be careful with this one. RCAT trying to push through VWAP to the upside, so opposite of what W key is doing right now.
That's Jay Rice, the Chris delivery. That was not part of my trade plan, but if it helps, giddy up. We'll take that.
Jonathan Cooper mentioning a company that I've been holding on to for a while, Honeywell. This is kind of an under the radar, quantum play, under the radar, a lot of things. Honeywell has got its hands everywhere.
This is actually a really sweet chart. Look at the spot that this is at.
Let me see you exactly when I bought
Look at this daily. This
ago.
actually looks like a cup here.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what we got here. So I picked up Honeywell. This is one of my October 2023 buys. So I got this on October 30th for $179.36. Wish I had picked up more.
It's always the case.
That's always the case.
It's always the case. When stuff's working out, you're like, I wish I bought a ton more of that. Honeywell, what was that price again? 160 what?
No, it was 170. I think it was 179.
179. That was really good.
Yeah. 179.36.
Look at this. Look at this long form cup going all the way back to 2021.
Look, the October 2023 bottoming area, that was such a big buying opportunity for so many different stocks. It was following.
That was the pullback. Yep.
It was off the heels of a correction. It was just such a good time to get into it. I wish I had taken bigger advantage of it, but I got a good handful of stuff that worked out really well, but didn't go in heavy enough.
Yep. It wasn't just Honeywell that was doing well with that too.
Oh,
okay, let's go back to the main workspace here.
So when we
Saidu, this 13. This Saidu looks like this is trying to push higher.
Yeah. Still wants that 268. And this is one of the reasons why, I've been, anticipating and waiting and looking for a correction too, because they really are great opportunities for long-term buying. So you start to see the end of these corrective moves coming. It's like, okay, well, now's a good time to start picking some stuff up. Have a shopping list ready when you see these happen. Yeah. So W key, that was it for that one. It looks like losing BWAP now. I could give support levels, but I mean, I think what's the point? 1040, maybe.
EOSE looking like this is trying to break higher here. This is having a nice day. Robert mentioning that ticker AI is ripping to the highs. Indeed, AI here back above $40, above 41. This looks like this is going towards 42 here.
Robert, is it Pesci? Like Joe Pesci, but spelled differently? I apologize for not pronouncing it correctly. Any reason to play RGTI? If you're into the quantum theme, that is one of the big names for quantum computing. As far as if we're looking to trade this, I mean, it's had a huge rip. I would kind of wait for it to come back in. Maybe it pushes through the $8 high that it or almost a near $8 high that it made last week. But these quantum names, they're very, very overextended right now. And just like the drone names, I would expect those to come back in. And once that cooling off is finished, then we can go long again and have it go up. As quantum computing, along with drones, space, and a handful of others, they're going to be some pretty important themes going into 2025.
Yeah, really well said there. I would agree with 13. I think that you would want to wait for a pullback here with Rigetti. Just a couple more things to keep in mind here. It does actually, despite it being a smaller company, it does have some analyst coverage. Now, as 13 correctly mentioned, we are a little bit overcooked here, though. The current price, in addition to being a little bit overbought, is actually above a lot of these recent analyst coverages that we've got on this. One other thing is that, for courtesy of Benzinga Pro here, with respect to the bull case, this is supported by a significant 5x increase in funding projected to yield additional revenue opportunities for the sector. So what this is saying here is that this is starting to get some attention here. It's early, it's in the infancy, so you're likely to see some volatility here. That also added on top of this, I think a pullback here to a support level, probably not a bad idea. And that should set Rigetti up for the future here. Wanted to take a look at its cash position real quick, because if you're going to hold a stock, you definitely want that to have cash. It has 20 million on its balance sheet here, burns about 15 million a quarter though. So you might be kind of exposed to some dilution there if that's the route they choose to go to increase their cash position. So just a couple of things to keep in mind here. We've been watching Rigetti on a daily basis here for trading purposes, but this does have a pretty awesome quantum computing angle as well.
Well, thanks for the mention of Google there, Lion, because I might get 200 before the end of the year.
Remember, Google here, a couple of things. So first of all, Google, this was a win for our group. We took a short-term trade here, was supposed to be a day trade. It actually turned into a swing trade because it did so well that particular day. There was just no reason to close it, and it was on that quantum computing catalyst. I did, you will be happy to know, finally read about that Willow chip, and you're exactly right. There are some real exciting things. We're talking orders of magnitude different when we end up getting there. So really awesome stuff. Also, shout out to JT and John from Ticker Monkey, who we had on last week. They had their earnings power gap webinar yesterday. Google really kind of fits that. They even talked about this when they came on with us. So Google here, this has been a good one for our entire group, frankly.
Yeah, that a $200 price target. I was basing that off of the inverse head and shoulders we had. Then we had the antitrust stuff that pulled it back down to the 200-day SMA. Wasn't sure if we were going to go lower, so I put limit orders out to add to my position at 155 and 150. Never went down there because it didn't break the 200-day SMA. And then we got these chips, and the stock said, "See ya, we're going to 200." But as exciting as what their chips are capable of, we're still a very long ways away from having real-world applications. There's just not enough software behind it to have it be able to do everything that traditional computing already does. There's going to have to be a lot of testing. A lot of companies are going to be getting these chips and building some software around it so that they can have real world applications. That's going to take some time.
Jay here mentioning Rigetti. I hear that name and I think the Yankees for some reason. Yeah, it's because you're an older baseball fan. Dave Rigetti, right? He played for the Giants, played for the Yankees. Tell you what, every time I hear Rigetti, I think of spaghetti and I get and I get hungry. But that's just me.
Turn on enough moving averages. That's what you'll get on the chart.
Indeed.
Yes. Let's see. Amazon. I didn't forget Amazon. Yeah, it just already broke past 200, and that was on a completely different reason. Apparently, consumers putting everything on their credit cards, and then when that gets maxed out, going to buy now, pay later, hasn't slowed down the Amazon machine from churning out that money. So as long as consumers are still willing to spend, Amazon, Walmart, and Costco are all going to do well.
Amazon here. This actually, we talked a lot about that $200 level that was on deck for a long time. This has made two recent moves up, right? Obviously through that Bezos wall, the insider selling that we talked about at 200, also went up to this 215. When it came back in, it deleted that move. This actually looks like this is trying to go higher here. I don't think 240 is out of the question here for Amazon, maybe even by the end of the year if this keeps up. I know that seems ridiculous right now, but let's just see 240 maybe on Amazon. And I don't have a position on this. I'm not talking my own book here. I just think that this could keep moving higher if it continues to trade well.
And Izzy, even if you were just kidding, it's still worth bringing up because you made a good point. It did go over 200. This thing is, moving up on some crazy volume, on a crazy theme, which, I think is going to come back and hurt the economy at some point. But that's not today. It's not this year.
Amazon selling cars now on its website.
Oh, Jesus.
That I haven't seen yet. But when I see that for the first time, whew.
I mean, I shouldn't be too surprised about that because they already sell these portable houses. They sell almost everything. I mean,
like the tiny houses that are built out of a shipping container. Yeah, I've seen those.
No, not out of a shipping container. These are you just unfold them and they're literal house. They're really cool. You got to check some of them out. But keep in mind, Costco sells cars too.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm glad that you mentioned that. So they just had this weekend when I went in Costco, they just had an Audi S6, I believe. S5 or an S6. It was in this hunter green. Oh my God. I walked by. I was like, this is a gorgeous car. I actually really want to buy my next car from the Costco auto program. I've never done it, but I'd be curious in that. Chris, here, I like this. I'll mention this. I work for Amazon during the holidays. I'll keep you informed on our volume. I would be very curious to know about that, Chris. Appreciate you. Ryan mentioning 240 is possible. I'm just saying. I'd be
very curious, Chris. How much of that those the shopping that you're getting, you're seeing and the orders that you're sending out, how much is going out via Amazon? And how much is going out via UPS and FedEx? If you're seeing increases in volume in UPS and FedEx, I'd be very interested to know that. So I appreciate that very much. Saidu's ready. It looks like it's really trying to take off here, doesn't it? Really does look like it's trying to move. Volume just needs to be a little bit better. W key got support from BWAP, trying to turn around here and nullify this head and shoulders pattern. Volume, again, does need to be a bit better. If we can break above 1250, I think we probably consider that nullified. Maybe go on a break over 1320. Keep in mind, this was the one where we're looking for that crazy stupid level of 1475. So, day's still young. If we get this up movement that we're seeing here to break over 1320, we might see that 1475 still.
SIDU, watch on a move maybe through 260 there on SIDU. Mm-hmm. TNXP, that was that penny stock that you folks were talking about earlier. This thing's getting jiggy. The volume continues to expand there. I think this is probably in play until you start getting some volume contraction there, if you get it. W key literally popping as I was talking through that 12 and 1250 level right there. UAMI, your antimony play 13, this at the highs here, 227, as this continuing to ramp, although light volume here today.
Jesus, that thing has been insane. Insane. How much are we up now since Well, if we talk about like when we first tried to trade this off the news on August 15th, it's now up 523%. But just this past week, or I'm sorry, just this month, like let's say start with Monday, December 2nd, then we are up 219%. Really good moves in this one. This is great. This was great. Also, AEHR. I don't know if you drew a trend line for this one, but we may see a trend line break in this one on a 5-minute chart. W key also moving up as well. Some of these things are coming back, folks. Did you see what I was referring to with AEHR? That could be another one where we see a break over the trend line. Where is that trend? If that trend line's right,
here. I think you're talking about this, right? Let me just go ahead and add it. You're talking this right here.
Yes, sir.
Boom, boom, boom.
And then you look at the price ladder, you can see 1405 has a pretty significant wall relative to the amount of shares that are being traded here, and that's that could potentially be where it breaks out. If it doesn't break out in the next several minutes, it might take a little bit more time and do it later. All right, what else are we looking at here? Waiting for, so we're still waiting for XIII to do something. MSTR, that looks like it's trying to get back over 427. 427 seems to have been a bit of a resistance area all morning for this, even into pre-market. Once that level was lost, it has not had a great time recapturing it. Just a bunch of trading above it, but no closes. DJT knifed after hitting 38.66. BBAI is consolidating up.
Sorry, LAES might be trying to go through its VWAP right now. Let me go to BBAI.
Yeah, BBAI is still holding above the $3 level, getting support there, but it looks like it wants to try and roll over according to the MACD. Be a little bit careful with this one. If it continues to hold 3, then it looks like we might be able to push up over 318 and move on to 355, but needs to hold this level, needs to see some volume expansion.
Okay. 13, we are approaching 11 a.m. here. What a great Monday here for the group. I mean, guys, this was a jam-packed day. It started off with not really having a whole lot of news. I covered it pretty early. You folks came locked and loaded with the stuff, with the charts you want to take a look at. 2 guests today, Christian from T3 and Matt Maley. Great stuff from both of them. 13, great stuff from you. Looks like we're going to have a discussion here on the happy hour. We're going to be back at this again tomorrow.
And I'll be right here, ready to trade some more with y'all. Until then, keep an eye on XIII, and I'll see you then.
Folks, great stuff. Register rings, lots of money being made.